respected dignitaries, senior officials from State Designated Energy Transition, sponsored by Bureau of Energy Efficiency and organized by National Power Training Institute Northeastern Region. Before we start the inaugural function of this 2 days national workshop, I would like to request our respected dignitaries to please kindly proceed for lighting lamp, ceremonial lighting lamp. So I would like to request Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna sir, IAS, retired Honorable Chairperson, Assam Electricity Regulatory Commission, Government of Assam, to please kindly proceed, sir. I would like to request our Director General, Dr.tripta Madam, also please kindly proceed. And I request our Director and Head of Institute, Dr. Rohit Verma sir, also to be present in the ceremonial lighting of lamp.
आप आइए please. Some of you can join us. आइए.
Yeah, please. Deshmukh ji आभार.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to request our dignitaries to please kindly take the chair on the dais. Sir and madam. Thank you. Now I would like to request Dr. Tripta Thakur, Madam, Director General NPTI, to please kindly felicitate our Honorable Chief Guest of this event, Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna Sir, IAS, retired and Honorable Chairperson, AERC, Government of Assam, with a floral bouquet and gamsa. Please, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to request our Director and Head of Institute, Dr. Rohit Verma sir, to please kindly felicitate Dr. Tripta Thakur Madam, Director General NPTI, with a floral bouquet and gamsa. Please. Thank you. I would like to request my colleague, Sri Bikram Barua, Assistant Director, NPTI NER, to please kindly felicitate our Director and Head of Institute, Dr. Rohit Verma, with the gamsa and floral bouquet, please. Thank you so much. Now I would like to request our Director and Head of Institute, NPTI Guwahati, Dr. Rohit Verma sir, to please kindly propose his welcome address. Sir.
A very good morning to all of you. Respected Chief Guest of the function, Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna ji, IAS, Chairman, Assam Electricity Regulatory Commission, Honorable Director General NPTI, dr.tripta, and the august audience. On behalf of NPTI, a very good morning to all of you, and I want to state that it will be a very good function for all of you. All 14 states are participating. 14 state SDAs are participating in it, and 12 regulatory commissions are participating in this program. It's my distinct honor and privilege to stand before you for extending my heartfelt greetings on behalf of NPTI. This will be a significant two-day workshop on Energy Conservation Act and energy transition. The workshop is not just a gathering of experts and scholars, but a gathering of minds and visionaries dedicated to common cause, securing a sustainable and energy efficient future. It is a testament to our collective commitment to addressing the formidable challenges that energy conservation and energy transition present us in the modern world. Energy Conservation Act 2001 and its amendment marked a pivotal moment in our nation's energy history. It recognized the crucial importance of conserving energy, reducing wastage, and promoting efficient use of resources. It set the stage for initiatives that have since reshaped our approach to energy management. Over the years, Energy Conservation Act has undergone transformative amendments, the most notable of which is the integration of energy transition provisions. This addition acknowledges our responsibility to transition to cleaner and more sustainable energy resources, aligning our efforts with global climate action goals. It reflects our recognition of the urgent need to reduce carbon emissions and to adapt to a rapidly changing energy landscape. Energy transition, as we understand it today, represents a paradigm shift in our approach to energy production and consumption. It calls a diversification of energy sources, a reduction in our reliance on fossil fuels, and a heightened emphasis on renewable and clean energy alternatives. It is our response to the challenges posed by climate change, and it is a critical part of our mission to build a sustainable energy future. By chance, there are wind chimes installed here. It is making some sound. Assam, our great state, stands at the crossroads of the transition with an abundance of renewable sources such as sunlight, wind, and hydroelectric potential. Assam is uniquely positioned to lead the way in this transition. By harnessing these resources, we can only reduce our carbon footprint, but also stimulate rural development, create jobs, and foster economic growth. This national workshop is an opportunity for us to share knowledge, exchange experiences, and brainstorm innovative solutions. The discussions that will take place over these 2 days will shape the future of energy management, not just in Assam, but across our nation. We'll explore how energy transition can enhance our energy systems, improve energy access, and promote sustainable development in our rural communities. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all the participants, experts, and organizers who have made the workshop possible. Your dedication and expertise are invaluable, and your contribution will have a lasting impact. Besides this, I'd like to brief you about the 2 days, what will be the program briefing. On the day one, the first session will be on Introduction to Energy Conservation Act, in which we'll be discussing about Energy Conservation Act and its amendment. A very famous faculty, Dr. Ashu Gupta, will be there for deliberating the session. Second session, pre-lunch, will be enforcement of the Energy Conservation Act through inspection, adjudication, inquiry, imposition of penalty. This will be dealt by Sri Ravi Deshmukh, Dr. Ravi Deshmukh. He is a MBA in power management and a lawyer also, and a consultant in his field, in power sector. Besides this, post-lunch, pre-lunch, last session will be on Energy Conservation Act for upcoming net zero target of India. This will be dealt by Mr. Dipak Khandare. He is from Idam Infra. He is the director there. And then next session is designated consumer under the Energy Conservation Act. This will be dealt by Professor Samar Jyoti Hazarika. He is from NEHU, Shillong. Then PAT scheme is also there. PAT scheme will be dealt by Dr. Ashu Gupta. Then panel discussion will be there in the evening at the close of the day, and then we'll close the day. Day 2 will have 2 sessions, rather 4 sessions in the morning. One is on standard and labeling. Post tea break, there will be a session on Appellate Tribunal for Energy Conservation. This will be dealt by Mr. A.N. Dev Chaudhary. He is a former director, AERC, and right now advisor of AERC also. And last session will be on the role of Energy Conservation Act in energy transition. This will be dealt by Dr. Dharm Ranjan Das, Scientist G from MNRE. Post lunch, there will be a panel discussion and quiz in which some prizes are there. There will be a live quiz conducted here. So please be there post lunch session also. Some beautiful prizes are there for you. And then the valedictory session will be there on the second day. So this is about the program. I once again welcome you all and welcome the guests to the 2-day program on Energy Conservation Act and Energy Transition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to request our Director General, Dr.Tripta Thakur, Madam, DG NPTI, to please kindly present her keynote. I would like to briefly, ma'am, if you don't mind, take 1 minute time to introduce Madam to the audience. Dr. Tripta Thakur is a graduate in electrical engineering with master degree in power electronics from IIT Kanpur and has a PhD from IIT Delhi. She has been recipient of several awards such as Commonwealth Research Scholars at University of Dundee 2005-08, UK Commonwealth Academic Fellow at Durham University Business School 2014, UK COFUND Senior Researcher at Durham University Business School 2016, and a visiting faculty at SN Institute of Technology, Bangkok. Madam is also a member ACG4, International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC. Madam is also member IEEE and a chairperson Women IEEE Cell at MANIT Bhopal. Madam is also a member working group of Indian Smart Grid Forum. Ministry of Power, Government of India. Also a member of International Association of Engineers. Madam has nearly published 100 publications in various journals and conferences, published 3 books and 1 patent to her credit. Madam is presently spearheading National Power Training Institute as a Director General. Now I would like to request ma'am to please kindly take the statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Indra Kumar. Namaskar. Welcome to all of you for 2 days national workshop on Energy Conservation Act and Energy Transition in Guwahati. I would like to welcome Sri Krishnam Sanjay ji, Honorable Chairperson, Regulatory Commission, Assam, and all the participants from the SDAs and the Regulatory Commission for this workshops. As this is supported by BE to make people aware what are the different changes which are happening in the electricity sector. We all know that electricity sector is very dynamic and basic infrastructure sector which is very, very important for country's growth. And we have been witnessing the tremendous growth in electricity sector in India. We can proudly say that with a capacity of 420 gigawatt, we are number 3rd in the world as far as installed capacity is concerned. We are also number 3rd in the world for renewable capacity. And our generation as well as transmission sector is at par with any developed nation. So we have significantly come forward with 1300 megawatt capacity after independence in 1947 to 420 gigawatt. Such a remarkable journey. And what we want to do in the next 5, 6, 7 years, we want to double this capacity. So a lot of work is going on. This is the right time to work in the electricity sector because we are not only adding capacity, but we are in the path of energy transition. So India has set up the complete goal as Glasgow Summit COP26 that we are going to add 500 gigawatt renewable capacity by 2030. We have also set a target to achieve net zero by 2070. So in this path of energy transition, the energy conservation efficiency is going to play a major role, and BE is working for that. So when I was studying this Electricity Act 2003, when I started my PhD, this act has just introduced in the electricity sector, which is based on market mechanism principle, first time. Because since 1948 Electricity Act, we have come up with the 1991 Act, where we have allowed private player to participate as an Independent Power Producer Act. Then in 1948, we started Regulatory Commission, which is mandatory in all the state to have State Regulatory Commission and one commission in the center. That has also contributed a lot into the sector because tariff is then decided by the Regulatory Commission based on a scientific principle. So after 1948 Act, 2001 Energy Conservation Act was introduced. And now various amendment of this act has come, and now we are calling that as a Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022. So a lot of things are changing. But in this changing scenario, we must understand, because SDAs are the persons who are going to promote, make awareness, and going to implement this act provision everywhere. Unfortunately, because of the free electricity, if you see the G20 reports, which has come up in the G20 energy transition, the energy conservation provision has reduced a little bit. And the people were debating why this is happening, it should increase, why it is decreasing. The reason was very simply, if you give anything free to anyone, they will not care. Who will care if I'll get free electricity? Why should I invest more money to buy AC, which is 5-star AC? And why will I replace my electric bulb by LED? Because anyway, I'm not going to pay. So electricity is still very political subject. So instead of all these debates, we need to educate our consumer, we need to educate our industries for adopting all the measures which are proposed in the new amendment bill of Energy Conservation 2022. So the main objective of this workshop, today's workshop, is to discuss each and every aspect of this amendment bill, that what has been changed. A lot of policies of Bureau of Energy Efficiencies are very popular. Like all of you are aware of the PAT scheme. NPTI has done a lot of capacity building for under PAT scheme also. So what changes has been proposed? In the building rules also, a lot of changes has been proposed. So these workshops, which are sponsored by BE, aim to actually promote all the new feature which has been introduced into the electricity sector. But we have added little more on that, not only Energy Conservation Act, but in the respect of energy transition, how the Act various provisions are going to help to achieve the goal of net zero by 2070. Because all of us understand that the world is facing two major challenges right now. One is energy security, and the second one is global concern for environment. And if you ask me, what are the solution for both the challenge? The solution is only one, and that is use of more and more renewable energy in future. But when we are aiming for adding 500 gigawatt, which is just going to be half of the total installed capacity by 2030, this is really very challenging. This is the most ambitious plan of any country in the world to add so much capacity in the form of renewable energy. And we all understand that electricity is very unique. Whatever is produced, you need to consume. You cannot store. Although we are trying for energy storage, especially the grid energy storage in the coming time. And the government has come up with 2-3 projects that grid-based energy storage is possible in the future, but it's very, very costly. So whatever is available, we really would like to balance demand and supply. The earlier our sector was facing the major issue is the gap between demand and supply, but now we can proudly say that there is no demand-supply gap in Indian power sector. But when we are going to add renewable energy, which is of intermittent in nature, then our grid is going to face a lot of challenge. So system integration is going to pose a major challenge, and that's how we are going to deal this in the energy transition. That is also going to be discussed. So I really would like to welcome all of you on behalf of NPTI in this beautiful city of Guwahati, temple city of Guwahati. Everybody would like to come here. Sir, this is very famous for this opportunity for all of us to visit this beautiful green city, Guwahati. And I'm very sure that you people will enjoy these 2 days and you will learn a lot, discuss a lot. Please feel free to ask any question. If you are sitting in that corner, you have a privilege to ask any silly question. So please don't be shy. Ask any question. I want this workshop need to be smart. And how we can make it smart? When there is a two-way communication. So you can also participate because you are working in different zones as a SDAs or as a regulator. You are really facing practical challenges. So what are your practical difficulties? What are your challenges? Please discuss with them. And we will try to address, our expert is trying to address this. Please participate in the quiz. Please give the feedback so that in future we will incorporate more new things in such kind of awareness campaign which is sponsored by BE. So once again, I welcome all of you in this 2 days workshop. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I would like to request our honorable chief guest of this event, Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna sir, IS and honorable chairperson, Assam Electricity Regulatory Commission, Government of Assam, for the inaugural address. Let me introduce you our chief guest. Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna was Chief Secretary of Government of Assam during 2019 to 2020, and sir belongs to 1985 batch of IS of Assam and Meghalaya Keda. Sir hold various posts such as Additional Chief Secretary, Home, Political, Revenue and Disaster Management, Public Health, Engineering, Information and Public Relations, Food and Civil Supplies, and as a Principal Secretary, Planning and Development, Forest and Environment, Cultural Affairs Department. Also as a Managing Director, Assam Tea Corporation Limited. Sir also served as a DC Kamrup and Sonitpur in the state, and is Additional Secretary, Agriculture and Farming, and as a Joint Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Director PMO in the central government. He was also posted as a Director Tea Board in New York during 2001 to 2004. Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna sir did his MSc in Physics from Delhi University. Sir has done BSc Honours in Physics from St. Stephen College in Delhi. He has done course in Public Administration, Public Policy, Trade Policy, etc. from Harvard University, Berkeley and Syracuse University. Sir has joined Assam Electricity Regulatory Commission on 4th of January 2024, and sir is presently working as an chairperson, Assam Electricity Regulatory Commission, Government of Assam. I now would like to request our Honorable Chief Guest to please give his inaugural address. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Thakur, Director General of NPTI, Mr. Verma, Director NPTI, and participants of this workshop. Firstly, I would like to thank NPTI for inviting me for the inaugural function of this two-day workshop on Energy Conservation Act and Energy Transition. And I'm also happy to see so many participants from 14 states of Eastern India. And I'm sure that this workshop will give you a lot of ideas, which once you go back, you'll be able to implement in policy making and policy decisions and implementation. Since you'll be hearing a lot of things about this Energy Conservation Act in next 2 days, I don't want to speak that much on energy conservation as such. But what I'd like to say is that, power sector is one of the most important sectors in the country. I was going through some statistics and I found that at the time of independence, India produced only 1,376 megawatt of power. From then on, India grew very slowly. As we all know, that our growth rate was about 1.5% a year, which was considered to be a Hindu rate of growth for many years. Then in 1990, the total installed capacity was only about 63,000 megawatt. But in 1991, once we had economic reforms, we opened up our markets, opened up our policies, foreign direct investment, foreign institutional investments were opened up, allowed, competition was allowed, and even our companies started competing with foreign companies. Then there was a growth. And I was very happy that that was the period when India grew at the rate of 5, 6, 7, even in 2007, 8, 9, it was about 8.5 to 9.5%. But an economy can grow only when there are 4 things are easily available for manufacturing units, for industries, for agricultural activities, whatever. For a country to grow, you need land, you need water, you need transportation, and least but not the least is the power. But in 2002, our again installed capacity was only about 1 lakh megawatt, and it has gone up to 3,70,000 in 2020. And just now, the Director General has said that it is more than 4 lakh megawatt of power installed capacity we have in the country now. But if you see the per capita consumption of electricity, in 2020, in India has only about 1000 kilowatt hour, whereas world average is 3000 kilowatt hour. That means we are only using about 1/3 of electricity where all over the world other people are using it. So in the coming years, as the country grows rapidly, the consumption is going to be much more than what we have the capacity. From generation point of view, we produce only about 5.3% of the global generation. And we all know that at the time of independence, we were dependent on coal for a long time. But again, if you see the generation point of view, there is a big difference between the state generation as well as central organization generations. State sector has a good share of 50% of total installed capacity, but they contribute only about 26% of the total supply. Whereas the central sector installed capacity is 26%, but they contribute about 40% of the total generation. There is a big mismatch between generation in the state level and central level. So in coming years, the power scenario has to develop rapidly to provide electricity to industries, manufacturing units, and especially in places like Assam, it is tea gardens and other agricultural sector. And we don't need to forget that we have to provide power to 1.4 billion people. And the power doesn't mean just the power. It has to be 24/7, reliable and high quality power. But in India, the beginning was made with hydropower. Major hydroelectricity projects appeared in various planned periods. Today, India is the fifth largest hydropower producer. Wind energy also started during 1960s when the National Aeronautical Laboratory developed windmills, primarily for supplying irrigation water. Today, India has the fourth largest wind power capacity. And in fact, regarding solar energy, the first discussion took place in the third plan period, 1961 to 66. And though it was seriously discussed in 1985 only. So energy conservation has been an important focus in policy making due to countries' growing energy demands and commitments. But why the energy conservation needed? In 1970, during the oil crisis, suddenly all the countries got up and they realized that every country has to conserve their energy, whatever form it may be, for tackling any unexpected shocks. And in 1990, policies and programs were developed to promote energy conservation. The establishment of Bureau of Energy Efficiency in 2002 helped focusing on renewable energy and implementing green building standards to reduce energy consumption in construction sector. Today, France is the most efficient country with a score of 74.5. UK is the second, followed by Netherlands, Germany, Italy. India is 16th worldwide. Renewable energy and efficiency work in synergy. When pursued together, they can bring faster reduction in energy intensity and lower energy cost. I don't want to go into the details of this, but as you know, India's announcement that it aims to reach net zero emission by 2070 and to meet 50% of its electricity requirements from renewable energy sources by 2030. It's a huge, significant moment for the global fight, India's global fight against climate change. India is pioneering a new model of economic development that could avoid the carbon-intensive approaches that many countries have pursued in the past and provide a blueprint for other developing countries. So I'm sure that when you discuss in next 2 days about Energy Conservation Act and energy transition, I'm sure you'll be able to learn a lot, and I hope this workshop will definitely give you a platform to discuss, to interact with a lot of experts, and I hope that this will be a very successful workshop for you all. I once again welcome you all to Guwahati, and I'm sure that you will have a good time in Guwahati and carry good memories. And thank you once again, Director General and the Director, for inviting me for this function. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for officially inaugurating this event. Now, I would like to request our dignitaries to unveil our souvenir which we have prepared for this 2 days workshop on Energy Conservation Act and energy transition. So, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request our Director, Dr. Rohit Verma, sir, to please kindly felicitate our dignitaries on the dais. First, I would like to request our Director, sir, to please felicitate Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna, sir, with, please. Madam, आप ही Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to request our Director, sir, to please kindly felicitate our Director General, Madam, Dr.tripta Thakur, Madam, with a memento, please. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. So, as we are coming to the closure of this inaugural function, I will take this privilege, I have been given this privilege to propose vote of thanks. It is an honor for me to propose vote of thanks for this event. Respected Chief Guest of this event, Kumar Sanjay Krishna, sir, Chairperson ARC, respected Director General NPTI, Dr.tripta Thakur, Madam, respected Director NEHU Institute, Dr. Rohit Verma, sir, and all the participants. We are very much thankful to, first of all, our heartfelt thanks to all those who have made this event a successful one. So this event, was possible because of this event being graced by our honorable chief guest, Sri Kumar Sanjay Krishna, sir. And we are very much thankful to you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and taking out some time for this event out of your busy schedule to grace this event with your kind presence. Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to thank our Director General, Dr.tripta Madam, for all the guidance, support, and valuable inputs Madam has given to us, not only just for this program. Madam, we are thankful for being a guiding force for NPTI, and we are very much determined that under your able leadership, we will be able to achieve a new height. Thank you very much, ma'am, for gracing this occasion with your kind presence. We today in the inaugural program do not have a representative from BE, but as you know, this program is sponsored by BE. We are also thankful to BE for allotting this program, because this program is very important. It is going to immensely benefit the entire 14 SGAs and also 12 state electricity regulatory commissions, so to say the entire region and the eastern zone. We would also like to thank all the participants who have came here for this event. Participants from state designated agencies. There are 14 state designated agencies who are representing. We are thankful also to all the 12 state electricity regulatory commissions who are representing here for participating in this program. Your presence only have made this program a valuable one. Your presence only makes this program complete. So thank you very much for participating in this program. I would also like to thank our director, Dr. Rohit Verma, sir, for his tireless efforts and being the person behind all the arrangements and everything for this program here in this location, in this region of the country. I would like to thank our entire team of NPTI who have consistently put in their hard works in making this event a grand success. So I'm very sorry if I have missed out anybody, thanking anybody. With this, I would like to conclude and thank everybody for their presence and making this event a successful one. Thank you very much.
Haiti has been arranged. We'll request all participants, speakers, all guests to kindly go for Haiti. Haiti is served here only, please. Sir.
Hello. Welcome back. After the high tea, I request the participants to please kindly join us. We'll be starting with the first session for today. So, we are ready with the first session for today, and the session will be taken by Sri Ashu Gupta, and the topic will be on introduction of Energy Conservation Act 2022 and its amendments. Let me introduce you our speaker, resource person who will be taking this session. Sri Ashu Gupta started his his service as a mechanical engineer in 2008. He is a managing partner for Design to Occupancy Service LLP. He held various leading positions for ISHRE, ASHRE, FSAI, IAQA, IBPSA, ISLE, and IEMP at local, national, as well as international levels. He has trained more than 7,000 architects, engineers, consultants, and government officials about energy conservation building codes. He is a proud recipient of Rajasthan Energy Conservation Award for contribution to state energy conservation efforts in individual category. He is also a recipient of Uttar Pradesh Energy Conservation Award for contribution to state energy conservation effort in individual level. He is also a co-founder of Design to Occupancy Service LLP. So I now would like to request our first speaker, Shri Ashu Gupta sir, to please kindly take over. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. All right. Am I audible? Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Energy level, because we are saving energy, but we are not saving energy in our words. So good morning, everyone. All right, so we will do an interaction workshop, as ma'am told about that we should have a two-way communication, not a one-way communication. That's my intent. I'm not going on that dais. I'm going to speak here. I'm so sorry, but I think I need to go there and there, no problem. So great, so today's topic on energy conservation. Before starting my presentation, I just want to do a pre-assessment, same like your question paper you had. Okay, why we required energy conservation? Can anyone tell me why we required energy conservation? Anyone? Please. Anyone? Why we require energy conservation? क्यों चाहिए energy conservation? क्यों बचाने की जरूरत है? Anyone? Please interact. I want that. For sustainability, okay, please. Can you give me a mic? Can I give mic also, that person? If one mic. Because that is something I'll take a 1 hour session, but I want to do a two-way communication. So whatever I teach you, you should understand easily. Whatever questions coming up, please feel free to ask. So question is, why we required energy conservation? Because you are the nation builder for energy. Someone is from the SDA, someone is from the Regulatory Commission. So we want to understand these new policies should implement, and you are the implementer actually in your state. So that's a very, I think thanks to NPTI to arranging such kind of session. So yes, why?
To ensure availability of energy sources for our future generations.
For our future generation, very nice, okay. Yes.
We have limited natural resources.
We have limited natural resources, so we need to conserve them. Okay, that's the reason energy conservation is important. All right. Okay, sir, please. Efficient use of energy. Very nice. So because I am telling you why this is required, when I graduated in 2008, I came in the industry and recession was on peak. And that time everyone was talking about energy generation. Very few people actually who were working in the direction of energy conservation. So I started my career in energy conservation side, doing energy audit for industries, for buildings. And then I thought that this is a huge potential in the sector, because in any building you go, you will find 20 to 30% energy saving potentials are there. Why the people are not focusing in this direction? So I started my career during that time and went to the US. I saw that what the world is moving towards about the climate, when we talk about the climate change. So the things are moving. We need to understand this is the need of an hour, because this is not for you. This is for our future generation. I want to explain why it is required. When you consume 1 kWh of energy, that is directly equivalent to around 800 gram of carbon emission. Entire world is talking about climate change. What is it actually? What is the impact? Because we feel that how will impact us? But I'm telling you, I'm not fearing you on that way, but our future generation is actually in dark if we do not act at this moment. Might be you will live your life, I will live my life, but my son or my daughter will not able to see that kind of scenario. That's the reason energy conservation plays a very important role. 1 kWh can save 800 gram of carbon emission. Now you can assume in entire country, if every person save that 1 kWh, it can impact a lot. And there is not a rocket science to save energy. Just your mindset and your habit is need to change. How will it happen? We'll talk about it, but technically, and that's the reason a lot of people say India is doing a good work in energy conservation. I would say we are actually late already. In 2001, the Energy Conservation Act came up, but a lot of different countries has been developed this act and developed this kind of a code long back, and implementation were happening. We are far behind in that, but because we are a big country, 1.4 billion people, and every person needs energy and natural resources like water or air on that way. And that's the reason we need to understand what this act talks about it. Because India as a country by 2070 to be a carbon neutral. A lot of you think 2070 to bahut dur hai, what will happen to us right now? But please understand, every year when the climate conference happen, like the ma'am was talking about COP, which is the climate of parties when we talk about, this 20, right, next month is in COP 28 is happening in UAE, and country has to present their INDC document, which is called India Nation Determination Contribution Document. We need to show what policies we have implemented in the country. And that's the reason 2030, the intensity should be reduced by the 45%. So please understand, very, very major topic, not a rocket science, or every single day you read these kind of the things, but please understand energy conservation is very, very important role. And they have a multiple domain. You talk about building sector, you talk about industry sector, star labeling sector. So I will speak in each and everything. But my request to please understand each and everything. So you'll get a lot of ideas. So my presentation will cover Conservation Act, what this act says about it, how the amendment came up in last few years, comparative between the recent act, which is under Energy Conservation Act 2022 or Energy Conservation Bill, or different section. I'm going to talk about it. And what BE, so how many people, everyone is aware what BE is, right? Bureau of Energy Efficiency, because a lot of SDAs and directly communicate with them. My question, can anyone tell me when the BE established in India? When the Bureau of Energy Efficiency established in India? Anyone? When the Energy Conservation Act brought in, that came in 1st March 2001, before the Bureau of Energy Efficiency came up after the Energy Efficiency Act. So before that, there was the energy management centers and all this thing, but we established, a lot of people are doing Google also when it is detected, so I can understand. So but please understand and learn these things, because most of you are working closely with BE and those policies, so we need to be aware about it. So I'll talk about the power and functions of the BE as under this act. I will talk about the state power also. And of course, the other speakers will talk about how the different thing and the implementation part. So we'll talk about penalty provision also, and how the Tribunal for Energy Conservation, role of SDAs in their state and state commissions, and process of inspection. Of course, a long presentation, but the Energy Conservation Act came in 2001, the first Energy Conservation Act, and why it came up? To promote and regulate energy efficiency and conservation. Can anyone tell me difference between the energy efficiency and energy conservation? हम हमेशा सुनते हैं energy efficiency, energy conservation. Either the same thing or the different thing? Energy efficiency or energy conservation? Different thing. Can you explain?
Basically, energy efficiency में आप जो है conservation में occupant जो भी है उसका condition जो है वो alter नहीं करेंगे.
Okay.
Same level of comfort अगर है, अगर alter कर दिया तो conservation, और अगर alter नहीं किया better equipment use करके किया वो काम हमने, तो then it is
very good. Very good. आपको इसको थोड़ा सा और सरल. Is everyone comfortable with Hindi also, Hindi and English? I want, because to explain more better direction. So like जैसा कि उन्होंने बताया, एनर्जी इफिशिएंसी और एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन बोथ आर द डिफरेंट थिंग. You will not believe, I have done more than 300 trainings for architects and engineers in India, and more than, I think right now the 15,000 people have been attended my training. Want to highlight कि लोगों को लगता है सोलर लगा दिया मैंने छत पे, मेरी बिल्डिंग तो बहुत एनर्जी इफिशिएंट है. Lot of people think in the direction, मेरी छत पे सोलर है, मेरी बिल्डिंग is most efficient. Is that correct approach? Solar is not energy efficiency. Please understand. Solar of the energy generation, it is good because you are using the renewable energy, but when you want to be the net zero approach, the first fuel of anything is energy efficiency. Energy efficiency का मतलब होता है whenever you are purchasing any product, वो कितना efficient है कि 3 star की जगह आपने 5 star लिया, that is you are doing the energy efficiency on that. Conservation is that कि आपकी लाइट बहुत जलती थी, आपने उसको बंद कर दिया, that is conservation. So that is the simple difference between energy efficiency and energy conservation. So this act came up to promote both things, energy efficiency and conservation across various sectors, and it effective on 1st March 2002, and so this is how we started. So main key objectives are promote energy efficiency, establish regulatory framework, energy consumption standard, appoint energy managers and auditors. I'm sure most of you are aware, and some of the auditors also sitting in this. And energy labeling and certification. We all see whenever we purchase fridge, TV, AC, we see the energy labeling. Establish energy conservation fund in the state and how the national demand side management, compliance and enforcement, implement energy conservation building code. I'll talk about that also. Of course, we have a speaker tomorrow for that. Promote public awareness and capacity building. So this is how this was the list in entirely 2001 until 2010. 2010 also some amendment happened. They were following all these areas. But we saw that in 2021 in Glasgow summit, India has taken a target to be a carbon neutral. So how the carbon market will happen and how the renewable energy promotion will happen in this sector, and that's the reason this amendment was required. And ECBC also only talking about the commercial building, residential building were not part of that. So how it can be talk about it? And right now the focus is not energy only. When we talk about the sustainability covers a lot of aspects. तो ये हुआ कि 2022 में there is a amendment came up which is called Energy Conservation Amendment Act in 2022, and what they have, this act was notified and issued by Ministry of Power 26 December. It has already passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha both, and I am sure because you must be thinking that might be our leader how they communicated to each other on this code. So please see the videos. Several speakers talked on this topic, and they were pretty aware that why this is a need of an hour. All the leaders and speakers were deliberating on this topic, and everyone passed this in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha unanimously, and it of course enforced on 1st January 2023. So what this code brings up, क्या इसमें ऐड हुआ? इसमें ऐड हुआ mandate use of non-fossil fuel resources. That because right now there was no mandatory criteria कि इतना renewable energy होना ही चाहिए हर जगह, चाहे वो industry हो चाहे वो building हो. They came up with the mandated use of non-fossil fuel resources. Carbon credit trading. Can anyone know what is carbon credit trading? क्या carbon credit क्या होता है? किसी को पता है? कोई बता सकता है? What is carbon credit? शेयर मार्केट ट्रेडिंग पता है सबको? Of course, हम जब शेयर मार्केट में काम करते हैं कुछ देखते हैं तो सेम कार्बन क्रेडिट क्या होता है मुझे पहले ये बताएं. कार्बन क्रेडिट क्या चीज है? And this is something, and as an energy professional you must all know that future is coming up.
Correct.
I'll
give it a try.
Yeah, please try.
Carbon credit is related to a designated consumer or a carbon emission producer who has a certain amount of emissions permitted, and if he wants to go further, he can do that with carbon credits.
क्या वैल्यू एक कार्बन क्रेडिट में मतलब क्या हुआ है? कार्बन क्रेडिट कितना?
1 ton carbon emission.
1 ton of carbon dioxide emissions. When we talk about that, of course, 1 ton of carbon dioxide एक कार्बन क्रेडिट के बराबर होता है. और ये क्या होता है ये मैं थोड़ा सा और एक्सप्लेन करूंगा, क्योंकि how it will be implemented in the energy sector and how the trading will happen, because lot of regulatory commissions are here, how it is happening, and already परसों 3 दिन पहले भी दिल्ली में BE has done one workshop on carbon trading mechanism. Who will be the carbon verifier? That's the mechanism. India's carbon market plan has been launched. So all has to be understood what is it actually. So we'll talk about it. Use of renewable energy and carbon neutral technologies. This amendment talks about it. And of course the sustainability aspect. जो हम अभी ECBC पढ़ते हैं building sector में especially, this is happening on the Energy and Sustainable Building Code of India. So it will be ESCBC now, in Energy and Sustainable Building Code of India. So now let's talk about the comparative study. So this code came up in December 2022, 19 December notification from the legislative department. So what are the changes happened between the 2001 and 2022? I have made some presentation. I'm sure that most of you are aware that ECBC जो code है, that building, because the building, earlier it was that building means any structural erection or part of the structural erection which has minimum load of 100 kilowatt. I'm sure in आपके states में आपने इसको amend किया होगा to reduce the load. Several state has that amendment power, they reduce the load. कि इसका मतलब क्या होता है? कोई भी building 100 kilowatt connected load या 120 kVA demand से ज़्यादा commercial building, हम talk about commercial building, उनको ECBC के norms follow करने पड़ेंगे. Already this code is mandated in more than 26 states in India. It is a part of the implement bylaws amendment is happening right now, but this code is mostly commercial building. So then every state has amended also, like I know some state, Chhattisgarh has done 50 kilowatt or above connected load. Similarly, the northeast state also 50 kilowatt or and above in Tripura or some areas. So but 100 kilowatt as a national requirement है, and हर state ने इसको amend किया, लद्दाख ने इसको 30 kilowatt किया है. So but this is for the commercial building or office building, but in this year, in this amendment came up for the residential building also, because आपको लगता है एनर्जी एक बिल्डिंग सेक्टर में सबसे ज्यादा कहाँ जाती है? एक बिल्डिंग सेक्टर में, because when you look at the energy scenario in any state, domestic building consumes a lot of energy. 33% consumption goes in domestic sector and 8% goes in the commercial sector if I compare with the national areas. And that's the reason government want to focus first. Commercial building should apply because they consume a lot of air conditioning. Yesterday only the Hindustan Times article I was reading, हमारा एक community है that way we were reading about it. The demand of air conditioning is going in that way कि by 2050 air conditioning will be the maximum appliances rather than all appliances in a home. आपके एक घर में washing machine एक होती है, आपके घर में ड्रायर, जब कुकिंग स्टोव माइक्रोवेव की बात करें एक होता है, बट एयर कंडीशनिंग अगर 3 कमरे 3 होते हैं, तो डिमांड ऑफ एयर कंडीशनिंग इज गोइंग टू ह्यूज, एंड वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिमांड इज गोइंग मेजरली, एंड वी आर डिपेंड, वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड द बिल्डिंग सेक्टर कंज्यूम्स अ लॉट, and 40% global carbon emissions comes from the building sector, and that's the reason we need to focus on building especially. So ECBC code अभी तक जिन स्टेट्स में मैंडेट हुआ है, that is for commercial building, for residential building. After this amendment already आप लोगों को पता होगा, we developed a one new code called Eco Niwas Samhita that came in 2018, and that is for the residential building. कि कोई भी 500 स्क्वायर मीटर से ऊपर का प्लॉट एरिया है, they need to follow the Eco Niwas Samhita code on that. Still states has not notified in their states respectively, other than Chennai. Tamil Nadu has done it already and Kerala is on the process for that. But commercial building already हो गया, but that is something they have added in new amendment जो पहले नहीं था. Let's talk about Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Of course, they amended as a carbon credit certificate also. The same like आप सबने, I'm sure because मेरा सेशन आज शाम को पैट स्कीम पे भी है, I will talk about that. आप सबने REC सर्टिफिकेट पढ़ा है, जब ट्रेडिंग होती है कि हमने renewable energy certificates, energy efficiency certificates की. So there is a carbon credit certificates also because the market was required in India. There was a very international market was going on. आप लोगों ने देखा होगा last few years में the carbon credit price was on surge. Every company was working on that direction. They are earning a lot of money from carbon emission, वो carbon credit certification. So India और मैं कोई मार्केट ही नहीं था, इट्स लाइक अ सेम, देयर इज नो रेगुलेशन. सो द ब्यूरो ऑफ एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी इज द नोडल एजेंसी हु स्टार्टेड दिस कार्बन क्रेडिट सर्टिफिकेट एंड कार्बन क्रेडिट ट्रेडिंग स्कीम. So this is, they have already amended in EC Act 2022, so it's a part of the gadget notification. So 1 carbon credit is equal to 1 ton of carbon emission, जो मैंने अभी बताया था. अब ये कैसे बनाया जाता है वो भी एक आपको प्रोसेस इस प्रेजेंटेशन बताया चलेगा. Another what they have added here कि amendment what in clause H, एक H clause में जो हुआ, they are talking about energy means form of energy derived from fossil fuel or non-fossil fuel sources or renewable sources. So this is something is every sector. अभी तक पैट में या इंडस्ट्री में जब हम ऑडिट कर इंडस्ट्री में नोटिफिकेशन है that talks about mandate of same like RPO for discoms की एक renewable purchase obligations होता है. Similarly, every industry should have a renewable purchase obligation कि that they need to be non-fossil fuel resources से कुछ ना कुछ energy लेनी पड़ेगी, mandatory होगा. So that is something also they are talking about. And earlier बस language में थोड़ा change किया उन्होंने, पहले non-fossil fuel नहीं लिखा था, अब उन्होंने non-fossil fuel भी लिख दिया clause H में. This one working. Another thing, energy audit and verification. How many energy auditors here in this room? 1, 2 energy auditors. आपको सबको पता है energy auditor कैसे बनते हैं? कोई मैं आपको बताऊं, अगर किसी को जानना है इसके बारे में भी, because each one of you can become energy auditor. आप सब energy auditor या manager बन सकते हैं, and this is something I request because to work in energy industry, you need to understand same like a chartered accountant in the taxation industry. If you want to be energy accounting, energy something, energy auditor is required. So energy auditor, earlier it was energy audit means the verification, monitoring, analysis used. Now they have included the energy auditor means any individual possessing the qualification under clause. तो अगर आपका इंजीनियरिंग के बाद में, बैचलर्स के बाद में 3 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, मास्टर्स के बाद में 2 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, you can apply for this exam. अगर इसके 4 पेपर होते हैं, if you qualify 3 paper, you can become energy manager. If you qualify for all 4 paper, you can become energy auditor. हर साल ये एग्जाम होता है. So I request each one of you, बहुत सारे गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स और एनर्जी ऑडिटर्स ऑलरेडी हैं और सब बन सकते हैं, गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स भी बन सकते हैं. So please apply and learn for this because आप सबने ये सब कुछ बेसिक पढ़ा हुआ है, ऐसा कोई नया रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है इसमें. But energy auditor and energy manager is something you can do that. तो एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन बिल्डिंग कोड, अर्लियर कोड में 2010 में जब अमेंडमेंट थोड़ा हुआ था तो उसमें ECBC कोड डाला गया था, बट इस साल 2022 में दिस नेम हैज कन्वर्टेड एज एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन एंड सस्टेनेबल बिल्डिंग कोड. पता है जिनके पास माइक है, और कोई इसके अलावा ग्रीन बिल्डिंग कोई बता सकता है? No idea, sir. Please, I want that this workshop should be very fruitful to understand the new areas कि क्या हो रहा है. That's it. Optimize of energy in use is not just a green building, is of course energy, of course. But हाँ, बताइए आप बताइए क्या होता है green building?
Green building is looking at a holistic view of the building construction, right from its construction part, operation, and the complete life cycle. And we are looking at targeting efficiency in terms of all resources that are used, not only energy, but in terms of water, in terms of waste management and other things.
And that's the reason this sustainable building code came up. That's the reason I was talking about. कि आप समझिए, आज से 25 साल पहले जिस घर में आप रहते थे, उस घर का एक एनर्जी कंजप्शन और आज के घर के कंजप्शन में क्या फर्क आया है? क्या लगता है बिजली का कंजप्शन बढ़ गया है? Energy consumption has been increased in last 20-30 years in every home. What is the reason behind it? क्या रीजन है उसके पीछे? क्या रीजन हो सकता है? अप्लायंसेस बढ़ गए हैं. अप्लायंसेस तो एफिशिएंट भी हुए हैं. पहले 100 वाट का बल्ब आता था, आज 5 वाट की एलईडी आती है. बट ऐसा और क्या हुआ है? Per capita energy consumption is increasing because of course when we talk about the building sector, especially I'm talking about right now the building sector, प्लीज रियलाइज दिस थिंग, बिकॉज बिल्डिंग में एनर्जी कंजप्शन पहले, आज से 25 साल पहले या 20 साल पहले एयर कंडीशनिंग वाज अ लग्जरी आइटम, एंड टुडे इज बिकम अ नेसेसिटी कि हर घर में लगता है कि एयर कंडीशनिंग होना चाहिए. एंड एनर्जी 60% ऑफ एनी बिल्डिंग आप कभी उठा के देखा, आपका 50 to 60% एनर्जी गोज इन एयर कंडीशनिंग सेक्टर. बिकॉज ऑफ एयर कंडीशनिंग आपका महीनों का बिजली का बिल बढ़ जाता है. एंड वाई? ये पहले नहीं था. एंड दिस ग्रीन बिल्डिंग सेगमेंट केम अप इन लास्ट 20 years, वेरी पॉपुलर. ये टॉप ग्रीन बिल्डिंग का मतलब होता है ऐसी बिल्डिंग जहां पे आपने पर्यावरण के अनुकूल एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली बिल्डिंग बनाई है. एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली मतलब जल, वायु, अग्नि, पृथ्वी, आकाश. एक बिल्डिंग को बनाने में आपको एनर्जी भी लगती है, एक बिल्डिंग में पानी भी लगता है, और बिल्डिंग बनने के बाद भी एनर्जी भी जाती है, पानी भी जाता है, एयर क्वालिटी भी होती है, मटेरियल्स भी होते हैं. इन सबको आप कितना कंजर्व कर सकते हैं बिल्डिंग के कंस्ट्रक्शन पे एंड ऑपरेशन पे, दैट्स कॉल्ड अबाउट द सस्टेनेबल और द ग्रीन बिल्डिंग. तो दिस, अभी तक ये कोड केवल एनर्जी की बात करता था, बट ये नया जो कोड ESC-BC आ रहा है, ये कोड पानी की भी बात करेगा कि एक बिल्डिंग में वाटर, क्योंकि पानी अगर ज्यादा जाता है तो पंप का कंजप्शन बढ़ जाता है, कि पानी को चढ़ाने के लिए पंप की एनर्जी चाहिए. So all are very interrelated to each other, and that's the reason the sustainable building code will talk about all those parameters. So, but green building concept is increasing. आज गुवाहाटी में, आज अगरतला airport is going for the green certification. आज गुवाहाटी में there are several projects are going for the green certification. So green में सबकी बात होती है, और लेकिन कोई भी green building certification या green building standard को कोई follow करता है, there is a mandatory criteria, उनको EC-BC तो follow करना ही पड़ेगा, तभी वो green building कर सकता है. So that's just the concept between behind it. Similarly, इसमें prescribed format था. Registry means there should be a registry and registry entity जो carbon credits की को registered करेगी, कि because how will you evaluate that कितने carbon credits किस industry के पास में. So they have added that amendment also. The registered entity means including designated consumer, registered for carbon credit trading scheme. Then under this clause section 6C, energy intensive industries. Can anyone tell me what is designated consumer? Energy intensive industries क्या होती हैं? किसी को आइडिया कि designated consumer जो कोड कहता है या आपके स्टेट में होता है, वो क्या होता है? कुछ भी. So वो किसके बेसिस पे डिसाइड किया जाता है कि ये designated consumer है? किस चीज के बेसिस पे होता है? Of course consumption. तो B डिफाइन करता है बेसलाइन कि इतना कंजप्शन होता है. तो मैं आपको पैट की स्कीम में शो करूंगा कि आज रेलवे, बिल्डिंग, टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री, कोर अल्कली इंडस्ट्रीज या सीमेंट इंडस्ट्री, उनका मिनिमम बेंचमार्क कितना होता है, तब वो कॉल्ड एज अ डेजिग्नेटेड कंज्यूमर्स होते हैं. सो विल एक्सप्लेन ऑल दोस थिंग, बट दे हैव rearrange this letter as a word energy manager पहले था. अब नाउ द क्लॉजेस में वही सेम एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन बिल्डिंग कोड और सस्टेनेबल बिल्डिंग कोड को उन्होंने ऐड किया है. कार्बन क्रेडिट स्कीम जो कि नहीं थी, वो उन्होंने स्पेसिफाई किया है फॉर नॉसिल. कोई 4-5 ही मेजर चेंजेस हुए EC एक्ट 2022 में. अब लेट्स टॉक अबाउट पावर एंड फंक्शन ऑफ ब्यूरो ऑफ एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी. ये कैसे काम करते हैं, क्या पावर है. ये भी अमेंडमेंट हुआ है इन 2022. पहले भी केवल मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पावर ही एक पार्ट था, बट अब नाउ several other ministries also part of the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. कैसे वो मैं बताता हूँ क्या कौन-कौन ऐड हो चुके हैं. So they have added the secretaries also in this the committee. So ये बताया गया कि how the management of the bureau will work. So management of bureau पहले 20 था, अब 26 हो गया है. And after the following clauses, the secretary of the government for the ministry department of when we talk about the environment, forest, climate change, that is also part of that committee. पहले नहीं थे, but now it is a part of committee because ये when we talk about the carbon, when we talk about the conservation, environment, Ministry of Environment, Forest and the climate change plays a very important part, and that is under this act, it is a part of that. Similarly, Secretary of Government of India, Ministry of Department, who is dealing in the housing and urban affairs. आपको बिल्डिंग पे कोड इंप्लीमेंट कराना है, अगर बिल्डिंग के सेक्रेटरी नहीं होंगे बड़ा मुश्किल होता है कोड को इंप्लीमेंट कराना. Now the Ministry of Urban Development Secretary is also part of under this committee. Similarly, the Ministry of Transport, Road Transport, Highways, because electric vehicles को implement करना है and electric vehicles के बारे में बात करनी है in respect of energy efficiency, then of course you need a secretary for power from the Road and Transport Highways. So these members are added in the new amendment in 2022. Similarly, the steel, government dealing in the steel department, they also added the civil aviation airports, because बहुत जल्दी सारे एयरपोर्ट्स भी पैट स्कीम के अंतर्गत में होंगे और ऑलरेडी सर्वे हो चुका था. सिविल एविएशन इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ दैट. पोर्ट शिपिंग एंड वाटरवेज सेक्रेटरी टू द गवर्नमेंट इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ दैट, एंड रेलवे बोर्ड इन चार्ज. So these all members are added in the committee of entire bureau working. So bureau management is not just related only right now energy, of course. So this has been, and after that, earlier it was of course the Director General of NPC also involved, who is the Department of Promotion Industry and similarly 5 states energy or power department IES, the principal secretary is to this appointed by the central government. So this will also be added under the 26 team of member. When we talk about the committee, the management committee of the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, earlier power बहुत कम थी, ministry, very few ministry were involved under the Bureau of Working, but now these all have been added under this amendment act. So now you can understand every department as collaborative approach will happen. So appointed by the central government as among, of course they are talking about shall be such person not exceeding 7, but associations, appliance manufacturers, architect, institutional, they are talking on national committee. Because same like I'm sure most of you are aware, there's the ECBC rules also came up. They made a committee in the state level under the chief secretary, under the purview of the chief secretary. Every state has made an ECBC rule. So I'll talk about those also. And similarly, section 14 is talk about same sustainable building code. I have several slides on it, but I'll talk on the specific thing. Okay. So this is also one area. The principal act shall be inserted. No person shall, without previous permission of the bureau, use name which so resembles the name of bureau as to deceive or likely to deceive to the public. This is also I was wondering, because when I'm making this slide, I came to know. But I came to know last 2 years back. Same like Bureau of Energy Efficiency, there is a Bureau of Water Use Efficiency is also coming up. The ministry also notified that the Bureau of Water Use Efficiency in the state, in the central. So already the committee is working under the Jal Jeevan Mission. So that's the reason I think might be they came up with this code. The bureau name should not be used in there, but other bureaus also working on it. But it is basically for the those areas, and so bureau make regulation. Sorry, power of central government. Let's talk about on those क्या change हुआ है power of central government में. Can anyone tell me star labeling कितने equipments के लिए mandatory है? कल अगर आप AC खरीदने जाते हैं मार्केट में, अगर आपको AC पे स्टार लेबल नहीं है, do you think वो होना चाहिए नहीं होना चाहिए? As a BE के हिसाब से, because BE having a 2 type of labeling, one is the mandatory label, one is the voluntary label. Can anyone tell me AC comes under the mandatory or voluntary? Mandatory. Agar if anyone selling the air conditioning without a star label, that is not a legal to sell it out in the market. So most of you are not aware, recently for 3 days back, the solar panels also rated by Bureau of Energy Efficiency under the star labeling program. But it's a voluntary, because a lot of people asking about कि solar panel की efficiency कैसी है, तो now it is a 1 star to 5 star range for the solar power panel also. So because now as a layman the person will purchase accordingly कि 3 star है 5 star panel है according efficiency. So already the scheme tomorrow has a session on standard and labeling, but I'm telling you there is around 30 to 35 appliances comes under this category who are star labeling. Out of 35, around 15 are mandatory and some are voluntary right now. Voluntary means कि 3 साल 4 साल तक voluntary चलता है, फिर उसको mandatory category में डाल दिया था, जैसे ही consumption. So AC, LED, fridge, TV, everything comes under the mandatory appliances. अगर आपको कोई market में appliances star label का नहीं मिल रहा है, that is something they are not complying, they are not legally, they are biting. So that's the reason वो भी आपके purview में आता है as a SDA कि standard labeling आपके state में, आपके शहर में कैसा star label product बिक रहा है नहीं बिक रहा. So we'll talk about all those. So they have added the principal act the word appliances, now the class of equipment, because slowly you will see. Yes sir, please. Can you pass the mic please? Yes, Praveen. Hello.
In case of mandatory appliances, whether there is some capacity of the appliances is there, so that I think for the refrigerator at least there are certain capacity of refrigerator there, those not comes under the mandatory appliances. So why this is difference, if you can throw some light on this?
Sir, because basically refrigerators, when we talk about you are talking about only refrigerators for the home appliances, or you are talking about the deep freezers, refrigerator for the cold purpose?
For the home appliances.
For the home appliances, but most of them are under this category of that appliances. There's a mandatory criteria for it. But what is your question exactly?
एक्चुअली क्या है, बहुत सारे जो लीटर्स है उसमें वो लोग बोलता है कि ये सारे does not comes under the star leveling, mandatory star leveling.
नहीं सर, ऐसा
है, बहुत सारे कैपेसिटी है, आप देख सकते हो लीडिंग ब्रांड जैसे बॉस और लीडिंग जो ब्रांड्स है उसका जो 2 डोर 4 डोर का जो रेफ्रिजरेटर आता है ना, वो मैंडेटरी नहीं आता है.
Okay, the reason I'm telling you because it depends on the capacity of the refrigerator. कि क्या अभी क्या है, Bureau of Energy Efficiency has made one kind of a guideline कि कैसे star labeling मिलता है for the manufacturer. So they also have a limitation कि इस category तक तो उन्होंने efficiency check किया हुआ है. Above that, every year now the luxury is coming up, the 2-door, 4-door big refrigerators also coming at a home appliances. तो वो limitations B के part में भी है कि उसको check करा कैसे जाए. तो वो शायद उस कैटेगरी में नहीं डाला होगा बड़े रेफ्रिजरेटर्स को, बट स्मॉल लीटर्स कैपेसिटीज और जो मीडियम मेजर ऑफ द फ्रिज जो मार्केट में बिकते हैं, दे आर कम्स अंडर दिस कैटेगरी ऑफ मैंडेटरी अप्लायंसेस. बट अगर कुछ है तो सर वो डेफिनेटली जैसे जैसे मार्केट बढ़ेगा बी विल कम मैंडेट ऑल्सो. रिसेंटली 2 चीजों को काफी मैंडेट कर दिया. चिलर, बिकॉज चिलर कंज्यूम्स अ लॉट ऑफ एनर्जी इन एयर कंडीशनिंग इंडस्ट्री, and chiller also mandated by now Bureau of Energy Efficiency, it should be 1 star to 5 star. So हर chiller manufacturing companies को they need to take the star labeling, and solar become a voluntary right now, but it will be mandatory in future for sure. But ये हमें याद रखना बहुत जरूरी है. Similarly for vehicle, because what is the future plan for Bureau in star labeling? Because सेम लाइक इन द यूएस बहुत सालों से एक एनर्जी स्टार चलता है. कभी आप अपना लैपटॉप खोलिएगा, कोई अगर यूएस ब्रांड का है या कोई बाहर का है, तो वहां पे ओपन होते ही आपको एक एनर्जी स्टार का लोगो दिखता है. एनर्जी स्टार आप देखेंगे, कभी नोटिस कीजिएगा. इन फ्यूचर यू विल सी द स्टैंडर्ड एंड लेबलिंग प्रोसेस आल्सो इन दैट वे. जहां जहां एनर्जी जाती है जिस अप्लायंसेस में, चाहे वो आपका मोबाइल क्यों ना हो, चाहे वो आपकी गाड़ी क्यों ना हो, एवरीथिंग शुड कम अप विद द स्टार लेबलिंग. जैसे मैं अभी आई वाज इन सऊदी फॉर सम ऑडिट पर्पस. आई सो वहां पे टायर्स को रेटिंग मिलती है, जो टायर्स गाड़ियों के टायर्स होते हैं. सेम अभी आपने ब्रिक्स को भी देखा होगा. यू हैव माइट बी द ब्रिक, कभी ब्रिक क्लीन के हिसाब से द ब्यूरो हैव स्टार्टेड कि हम ब्रिक्स को भी रेटिंग दें कि कौन सी ब्रिक किस क्लीन में है, उसमें कितना एनर्जी कंजप्शन है. सो दैट स्टार लेबलिंग इज कमिंग इन दोस प्रोडक्ट एज वेल. You want to some ask question?
Yeah, I was just actually contemplating on the fact that in order to have star labeling into the segments of laptops or any other appliances, what India must do is they have to manufacture them.
Yes.
So in order of doing that, we have to grow in a separate pace where laptops and other appliances can be star labeled in a similar manner.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure their day is not far already. When we talk about the IT equipments, right now we are far behind it in the manufacturing here, but slowly you will see a lot of things will come under the purview of that. But lot of stakeholders involvement required. क्या होता है सबसे बड़ा पहचान, because I do a lot of star labeling training also for the retailers. आप जान के हैरान होंगे तो what kind of the surveys we got in during the retailers training. वहाँ पे क्या होता है retailers में, do you know what is the tenure of the star label? कि अगर कोई 5 स्टार है वो कब तक 5 स्टार है, किसी को पता है? 2 years वैलिडिटी, मेजरली 2 years रहती है. तो क्या होता है रिटेलर्स को जो हमें फीडबैक मिला कि सर आप कभी अपना प्रोडक्ट बेचते वक्त में डू यू ट्रेन टू द कंज्यूमर तो कहते हैं सर वो कंज्यूमर ऑलरेडी नो 3 स्टार बेस्ट है, 5 स्टार, वो 5 स्टार बेस्ट है, 3 स्टार कम बेस्ट है। आप ये बताइए जब 5 स्टार ही बेस्ट है तो व्हाई द गवर्नमेंट मेक्स द 3 स्टार, जब 2 स्टार क्यों बनाती है? अगर 5 स्टार ही लगाना है सब जगह तो हम 3 स्टार 2 स्टार 1 स्टार क्यों बनाते हैं? कोई बताएगा? नहीं, 5 स्टार से 3 स्टार कर दिया जाता है। ऐसा नहीं है, 3 स्टार लेवल आज भी कोई मैं प्रोडक्ट बनाऊंगा तो मैं 3 स्टार ही अप्लाई करूंगा, क्योंकि 5 स्टार ऑफ कोर्स कंज्यूमर को, कि आप अपने घर में जब एसी खरीदने जाते हैं क्या आप हमेशा 5 स्टार खरीदते हैं? नहीं खरीदते। क्यों नहीं खरीदते, मुझे बताइए रीजन। बिकॉज हम अपनी पहले जेब को देखते हैं, कॉस्ट की, कॉस्ट हमारी क्या है। तो कॉस्ट ऑफ कोर्स 5 स्टार इज एक्सपेंसिव, 3 स्टार लेस एक्सपेंसिव। तो हाउ डू यू डिसाइड कि मुझे 3 स्टार ही जाना है? वो कॉस्ट के बेसिस पे करते हैं। बट ये कॉस्ट क्यों ज्यादा होती है 5 स्टार की? क्यों ज्यादा होती है? क्योंकि उसको टेक्नोलॉजी पे इन्वेस्ट करना होता है। प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, द गवर्नमेंट डजंट से एवरी टाइम कि आपको 5 स्टार ही खरीदना है। टेक्नोलॉजी को भी, क्योंकि आपको ये डिपेंड करता है लाइफ साइकिल ऑफ एनी प्रोडक्ट, कि अगर मेरा एसी दिन में 3 घंटे ही चलता है, जिस कमरे में मेरे गेस्ट रूम है, गेस्ट रूम में गेस्ट हफ्ते में 2 बार आते हैं और वो इतना कम यूज होता है, क्योंकि हर प्रोडक्ट की एक लाइफ होती है। एयर कंडीशनिंग स्प्लिट एसी की लाइफ 10 साल है। आप अगर दिन में 2 घंटे चलाते हो, व्हाई यू गो टू द 5 स्टार? आपकी एनर्जी का लाइफ साइकिल जब एनालिसिस होती है तो उसमें नहीं कॉस्ट निकलेगा। whenever you are using the 6 to 8 hours of air conditioning, definitely go with the 5 star. And give an example for that. So same like 3 star or 5 star, or and of course the code which the ECBC says कि minimum 3 star mandatory है जो भी आप लगाते हैं, but हाँ 5 star जाते हैं बहुत अच्छा है, but it depends on the designer, it depend on you कि आपको 5 star कहाँ लगाना चाहिए, 3 star कहाँ लगाना चाहिए। but 3 star से 5 star इस वजह से होता है। एंड आपका जो तो रिटेलर्स क्या होता है, रिटेलर्स में कंपनीज क्या होती है, लॉट ऑफ बेनिफिट्स और इंसेंटिव्स देखिए, आप बल्क में प्रोडक्ट खरीदो। अब वो एक साथ में 2000 एसीज खरीद लिया, उनको कोई अच्छा इंसेंटिव मिल गया, ट्रिप मिल गया बाहर का, एंड वो मार्केट में 4-5 साल तक वो बेचते रहते हैं। एंड जो आपको 5 स्टार लगता है कि 5 स्टार है, एक्चुअल में उसकी वो 3 स्टार की जो एफिशिएंसी वो 3 स्टार की होती है। एंड दिस काइंड ऑफ फीडबैक वी गॉट ड्यूरिंग द रिटेलर्स प्रोग्राम कि ये रेगुलरली एक इन्फोर्समेंट या उनको चेक करना बहुत जरूरी है, कि उनको बताना जरूरी। दे वर नॉट अवेयर, बट दिस रिटेलर ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम इम्पैक्ट अ लॉट इन कंज्यूमर अवेयरनेस। सो लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर डूइंग आइडियाज कि आजकल आप जैसे शोरूम पे कभी टीवी के शोरूम पे जाते हैं तो यू विल सी लॉट ऑफ वीडियोज आर रनिंग ऑन, तो एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन वीडियो शुड रन ऑन दैट। व्हाई शुड नॉट इट कैन इम्पैक्ट अ लॉट ऑफ अवेयरनेस टू द रेगुलर कंज्यूमर। तो वो धीरे धीरे स्टार्ट हो रही है, काफी रिटेलर्स आर टेकिंग इन दैट डायरेक्शन। प्लीज
आज के डेट में जो 5 स्टार,
हाँ,
वो नया ही प्रोडक्ट रखे हुए हैं मार्केट में, वो 2 साल के बाद वो 3 स्टार हो जाए तो कैसे वो 3 स्टार क्यों हो जाता है? क्यों उसमें यूज हो रहा है ना कुछ है वो स्टैंडर्ड?
सर वो इसलिए हो जाता है क्योंकि द स्टैंडर्ड हर 2 साल में चेंज होता है। जब ECBC 2007 में आया था तब हमारे पास में स्टैंडर्ड डिफरेंट था। हर 2-3 साल में टेक्नोलॉजी इज इंक्रीजिंग, तो स्टैंडर्ड पीछे हर 3 साल में 2 साल में गवर्नमेंट स्टैंडर्ड चेंज करती है, उसको अपग्रेड करती है कि ये इतना। तो इस वजह से जो स्टैंडर्ड जिस बिहाफ पे उसको 5 स्टार रेटिंग 2 साल पहले मिली थी, लेकिन जब उसको 2 साल बाद उसने देखा कि वो चलाना स्टार्ट करेगा तो वो स्टैंडर्ड पुराना हो चुका होगा 2 साल पुराना, तो 2 साल बाद में नया स्टैंडर्ड आ जाएगा। तो इसलिए हर, चाहे वो यूएस हो चाहे कोई भी कंट्री हो, एवरी 3 इयर्स, जनरली 3 इयर्स कम रहता है, 3 इयर्स में स्टैंडर्ड शुड चेंज, कि स्टैंडर्ड को अपग्रेड किया जाए, एफिशिएंसी को और बढ़ाया जाए एंड टेक्नोलॉजी को, इसलिए वो 5 स्टार 3 स्टार हो जाता है। राइट, सो Assurance of energy saving certificate, same like सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने जो वर्ड था एनर्जी सेविंग सर्टिफिकेट, इन्होंने इसमें कार्बन सर्टिफिकेट भी ऐड किया कि इशुएंस ऑफ द 14AA की इशुएंस ऑफ कार्बन क्रेडिट सर्टिफिकेट आल्सो एंटर्ड, और रजिस्ट्री शुड बी एंटाइटल्ड। तो जो भी रजिस्ट्री होगी अभी ऑफ कोर्स कि उसको एंटाइटल्ड होगा फॉर द कार्बन क्रेडिट स्कीम एंड कार्बन क्रेडिट ट्रेडिंग स्कीम आल्सो। आई थिंक पिक्चर क्लियर नहीं है, बट दिस इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ लाइफ साइकिल ऑफ कार्बन क्रेडिट कि कैसे कार्बन क्रेडिट रहता है। ओके, लेट्स टॉक ऑन कार्बन क्रेडिट आल्सो। आपको क्या लगता है किस चीज से कार्बन क्रेडिट बन सकता है? कैसे कार्बन क्रेडिट बनता होगा? एमिशन से। लेट्स टेक आप एज एन किसी एक इंडस्ट्री का एग्जांपल लीजिए, वो इंडस्ट्री कैसे कार्बन क्रेडिट अर्न करेगी? कैसे अर्न करेगी? कार्बन क्रेडिट कैसे बनाएगी? सेम लाइक द परफॉर्म अचीव एंड ट्रेड, जो पैट है, परफॉर्म अचीव एंड ट्रेड। अभी तक हम उसको क्या कहते हैं, जो सर्टिफिकेट्स होते हैं हमारे ई सर्टिफिकेट्स जो रहते हैं, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी REC सर्टिफिकेट्स भी हैं, ट्रेडेबल है आपस में, बट आप समझिए इस चीज को कि अब ये कार्बन क्रेडिट में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा। मैं जैसे कि आपको बताया, अभी तक हम 1 टन ऑफ ऑयल इक्विवेलेंट की बात करते थे, तो 1 टन ऑफ ऑयल इक्विवेलेंट इक्वल के बेसिस पे हमने डिफाइन किया हुआ है। बट आगे चल के द कार्बन इमिशन व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट कि अगर मैं जैसे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का कन्वर्जन फैक्टर मैंने आपको बताया 1 kWh में 800 ग्राम कार्बन इमिशन होते हैं, तो वी हैव अ फैक्टर फ्रॉम कन्वर्जन ऑफ kWh टू कार्बन इमिशन। सिमिलरली ऑयल टू कार्बन इमिशन, सिमिलरली फॉर द डिफरेंट अदर फ्यूल्स टू कार्बन इमिशन। एक इंडस्ट्री ने अगर थ्रेशोल्ड से कम एनर्जी कंज्यूम की है, इसका मतलब उन्होंने कार्बन इमिशंस को कम यूज किया है, तो अपने सर्टिफिकेट का जितने टन बचाया उतने उनको कार्बन क्रेडिट मिल जाएंगे। और वो कार्बन क्रेडिट आप मार्केट में जिसने ज्यादा किया उसको ट्रेड कर सकते हैं। सेम दोज कॉन्सेप्ट, बट इट इज अ यूनिवर्सल इन एंटायर वर्ल्ड। अभी लॉट ऑफ कंपनीज लाइक इंदौर म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन, दे मेड 9 crore rupees इन अ ईयर कार्बन क्रेडिट अर्निंग। इंदौर को जितना वेस्ट निकलता था, उस वेस्ट को, पूरे सिटी के वेस्ट को दे आर कन्वर्टिंग इनटू एनर्जी, और उसके कार्बन क्रेडिट्स का प्रोजेक्ट बना के इंटरनेशनली उन्होंने उसके कार्बन क्रेडिट खरीदे और वो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में सेल आउट कर रहे थे। DMRC दिल्ली मेट्रो ने अपनी एनर्जी ट्रैक्शन, जो उन्होंने एक एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी की थी अपने ट्रैक्शन ऑफ द इन द रेलवेज, उसकी वजह से उन्होंने दे अर्न लॉट ऑफ कार्बन इमिशन कि कार्बन क्रेडिट्स उनको मिले और उन्होंने मार्केट में ट्रेड किया। और इंटरनेशनली जैसे आज पेड़ लगाते हो, मैं एग्जांपल दूं, पेड़ लगाने से सबको पता है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड को एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं पेड़। अब किसी के पास में कोई बिल्कुल लैंड थी, लेकिन वो लैंड होनी चाहिए कि बंजर जमीन होनी चाहिए, दैट्स समवन इन राजस्थान और समवेयर अदर, बंजर जमीन पे उन्होंने पेड़ लगाया और पेड़ का पूरा खेत लगाया, कुछ हेक्टेयर्स में पेड़ लगाया, दे कैन अर्न दैट कार्बन क्रेडिट्स एवरी ईयर, क्योंकि एवरी ईयर जब तक उस पेड़ की लाइफ चलती रहेगी आप उससे कमाते रहोगे। a lot of people in that trading also. तो कार्बन क्रेडिट ट्रेडिंग इज वेरी नॉर्मल दीज डेज, इंटरनेशनली काफी दिनों से हो रही थी, बट इंडिया में मार्केट नहीं था। नाउ द इंडिया मार्केट इज आल्सो डेवलपिंग इन दैट डायरेक्शन। सो बट इसको बहुत सारे तरीके होते हैं, बट दिस इज ऑल रिलेटेड टू रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी, एवरीथिंग। बट प्लीज लर्न, आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू कि दिस इज समथिंग ऑफ फ्यूचर. So Bureau with such information is specified under this Act furnish Bureau's power to obtain information, because this is for the to get the information from Bureau. They have added something, power of central government to make rules in this the same code definition, same like this is the same, because lot of people having a issue कि हमने अभी ECBC को notified किया अपने स्टेट में, अब कल को ये ESCBC हो जाएगा, तो अभी ESCBC होने के बाद में फिर से नोटिफाइड करना पड़ेगा स्टेट में, ये भी प्रॉब्लम आ लोगे। लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है ESCBC को कि अभी जो ब्यूरो ऑफ एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी के जो मानक है, मोस्ट ऑफ द बायलॉज में whenever you change the language, you just put a language का ब्यूरो ऑफ एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी स्टैंडर्ड्स will change time to time, because अपग्रेड होते हैं, that should be implemented. So it should not be that every time ECBC should be written in that. So ESCBC जगह let's talk about state, because most of you are from the state. क्या पावर दी गई है इस एक्ट के अंतर्गत में? So same like for energy conservation building, one is the building sector. Does anyone know what is the penalty clause in Energy Conservation Act में? क्या penalty clause होता है? किसी को आइडिया है कि अगर कोई एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन फॉलो नहीं करती, कोई इंडस्ट्री फॉलो नहीं करती, कोई बिल्डिंग फॉलो नहीं करती, क्या पेनल्टी लगेगी? एनीवन? ये तो बहुत जरूरी है आप लोगों के लिए। ठीक है, मैं बताता हूँ, मेरी नेक्स्ट स्लाइड है पेनल्टी क्लॉज, बिकॉज दैट इज समथिंग आल्सो नीड टू अवेयर। आप किस स्टेट्स में ECBC नोटिफाइड है? पहले बिल्डिंग सेक्टर में कोई नोटिफाइड किस स्टेट में हुआ है? त्रिपुरा हो चुका है, और कौन सा स्टेट है? आसाम आल्सो नोटिफाइड, एनी अदर स्टेट? छत्तीसगढ़ आल्सो नोटिफाइड है, छत्तीसगढ़ से ग्रेटर। सो बट अगर कल को कोई बिल्डिंग नहीं बनाता ECBC आपके स्टेट में, व्हाट पेनल्टी विल कम अप? क्या होगा उसका कोई आइडिया? आपके में रूल्स भी नोटिफाइड किए आपने, रूल्स आल्सो नोटिफाइड, आसाम में भी रूल्स नोटिफाइड है। Okay, the ECBC rule, because earlier the problem was the rules were not available, rules notified नहीं हो रहे थे, but now this time the ECBC 2017 the notification with the rules, and rules में power दी गई है। Of course there are two ways, one उस बिल्डिंग को डिजाइन का परमिशन अप्रूव ही नहीं होगा उसका UDH में, अर्बन डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी will not approve the design already if someone is not following ECBC in the code. अगर उसने बना भी लिया है, they will not get the occupancy certificate of the building in the building sector. तो वो है। और तीसरा EC एक्ट के अंतर्गत में भी पेनल्टी क्लॉज है, वो सबके लिए वेरिएबल होता है, वो भी बताऊंगा। दूसरा इसमें सेक्टर 15 में दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द बजट ऑल्सो कि आपको एज अ एसडीए कैसे बजट डिफाइन करना है. हाउ विल द फंड, बिकॉज स्टेट एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन फंड की जब बात होती है, द डेजिग्नेटेड एजेंसी शैल प्रिपेयर अ फॉर्म एंड सच टाइम इन ईच फाइनेंशियल ईयर एंड प्रिस्क्राइब. ऑफ कोर्स आपको बीई ने शेयर भी किया हुआ होगा किस तरह का बजट फॉर्मेट रहता है. दैट शुड बी एन एनुअल बजट एंड so this is State Energy Conservation Fund. So there is a fund or process of promotion of efficiency use of energy within a state called the State Energy Conservation Fund. All grants and loans may be made by the state government or the central government or other organization. All fees received by the state government or the designated under this act, all sum received by the state government designated agency, so may be decided by the state government. So this is the form for section 16. तो जिसके अंतर्गत में स्टेट एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन फंड को भी बात की गई है. स्टेट कमीशन में भी एक पावर ऑफ स्टेट कमीशंस को भी दी गई है. पेनल्टी क्लॉज भी इसके आगे, आई थिंक स्लाइड्स काफी सारी हैं, आई हैव लिमिटेड टाइम ऑन दैट. तो स्टेट कमीशंस सबको पता है, स्टेट रेगुलेटरी स्टेट कमीशन क्यों काम आता है. जब जहाँ पे फाइट है बिटवीन द डीसीज एंड एसडीएस, डेफिनेटली रेगुलेटरी प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. कि रेगुलेटरीज को क्या सुनना है, इज अ ट्रिब्यूनल बॉडी विच वी से. Power of. So after section 27 of Principal Act, the State of Commission discharging the function under this act. Power of State Commission is a regulatory body, na?
Actually, the rules have to be made by a regulatory body for functioning their function. So like the Electricity Act, Energy Conservation Act also they need to form, because they are, the cases will be come to State Regulatory Commission and that has to, they have to frame the rules. Some of the state already form the rules, frame the rules. Every state has to frame the rules under that particular act, because you have to carry out the hearings and all those such things. Then you have to have rules and regulations.
So that the regulatory is directly working on under this act. I think, sir, you are already communicating with several states for this, na? Penalty provision, let's talk about it. So पहले भी था 2010 2001 के अंदर भी पेनल्टी क्लॉज देयर वाज कि क्या पेनल्टी लगती है. तो पेनल्टी में आप देखेंगे द प्रोवाइडेड दैट केस द पर्सन शैल बी लायबल टू एडिशनल पेनल्टी. वन इज द पेनल्टी not less exceed than the 10 lakh rupees one time. 10 lakh rupees one time. If the persistency always, then the 10,000 rupees per day you can penalize that. So that is under the penalty for section 26. कि 10 लाख रुपए एक one time penalty है, 10,000 रुपए per day penalty is also there under if anyone violate the Energy Conservation Act.
penalty for state commission
Commission, regulatory body, state commission. After here,
up to 10 lakh है, not 10 lakh. Up to 10 lakh, commission can levy the penalty.
Commission can decide.
Depend upon the severity. There is a manual given. Depending upon severity of the depending on the severity of the non-compliance, they can State Regulatory Commission can decide the penalty.
Should not exceed the 10 lakh. Maximum 10 lakh, but if it is 10,000 rupees up to. Similarly, for a vehicle also they have added in this act 25,000 rupees per vehicle if non-compliance, and 0.2 liters per 100 kilometer is also something in the vehicle. Similarly, for I think appliances also they have added. Appliances, if some appliances not meeting the criteria of star labeling, if it is mandatory in that state, so they have added that as well.
There are different penalties for different violations.
Different violations.
Standard and labeling, different penalty for designated consumer, different penalty for non-compliance of other state, that is different penalty. This is the amendment there.
Right. So कौन है appellate? Who will be the appellate body? Of course, the SCRC, the State Energy Regulatory Commission. If any penalty, anything deviations are happening, where they can go, the manufacturer अगर किसी को जाना है तो they can go to the appellate tribunal, which is the State Energy Regulatory Commission. जैसे कि गुजरात के अंदर GERC, राजस्थान में RERC है. Similarly, every state has that. And SDAs, DCs in case of PAT activities, अगर डीसीज और एसडीए के बीच का इशू है, जैसे पैट में जो होता है जनरली मेजरली, तो वो आप इसमें जा सकते हैं।
स्मॉल करेक्शन।
हाँ करेक्शन।
इसमें क्या है कि एससीआरसी में केस चलेगा इन केस डीसी और एसडी इज नॉट satisfied with the result or any outcome from the SCRC, then there is a appellate tribunal where they can file the petition.
Electricity regulatory, SCRC इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, ठीक है। अभी एनर्जी की बात हो रही है तो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी अलग हो गया। एसडीए क्या करता है?
Ashu ji, behind you, Ashu ji behind you.
Yes, sorry sir.
I had one doubt. As we are going to change the topic, with regards to the appellate tribunal, now I wanted to understand, this is part of the judiciary that we are talking about in the Energy Conservation Act, their enforcement per se. Does the SCRC in the Act have suo motu cause? Can it take up suo motu cause for any designated consumer or any non-compliance, or even not related to DCs throughout the state? Can it take up suo motu cases?
No.
SCRC.
Sir, I think because you are closely working with regulatory commission, you can ask.
Suo motu clause generally not, it is not defined, but actually SCR, the function, the amendment and everything talks about the, if anyone, this is the penalty, this is SCRC's limitation is given to penalty clause. Maybe SDA is filing the case or DC maybe.
SCRC can go for sumo. So no.
No.
Answer is no.
Simple as that.
Suo motu, powers are not given right now.
Yeah. No. Basically powers are given, but suo motu no.
Suo motu no.
Now that's for suo motu powers are not.
As a high court, judiciary can take up suo
Yeah.
motu causes,
Basically, sir, next session I am taking on this only.
Okay, great sir.
So you
I-
can pass
great,
on
sir.
these questions
Great
to
to
me.
know.
No issues.
Alright, so SDA activities, I think everyone is pretty aware कि क्या क्या काम SDA ऐसा करना है. There are a lot of training program which you are already doing. Street lighting program, pump program. I'm sure there is a training and capacity building demonstration project. There is a R&D also, and there is a outreach and awareness. So as a SDA, what responsibility you have for the BE? This is for the outreach in their respective state. Every state having a state SDA, of course, कहीं पे renewable energy department है, कहीं पे discoms है, but every state having a SDA's responsibility for the BE. I think these slides will be shared to everyone, so आप go through कर सकते हैं. This presentation I already shared with NPTI. SDA define कौन करता है? ये भी अच्छा क्वेश्चन है सर. हाँ, अभी तक स्टेट बॉडी डिफाइन करती है. So B state
Basically, state government appoints SDA, and central government has appointed bureau.
Right.
As per the powers given in the State Energy Conservation Act, state government's powers are there, where they can appoint any agency which is they feel liable is good for as if to discharge its function. They can appoint the SDA.
But कुछ स्टेट में जैसा I feel दादर and नागर में I have realized कि SDA has changed कि कभी वो दादर में जाता है, कभी उधर जाता है, सिलवासा में जाता है.
दोनों combine ही work करते हैं. UT under UT they work.
Under UT is the
तो 4-5 UTs मिला के एक ही section है.
AZ section. So this is power of SDA under EC Act 2001. क्या क्या दी गई है power? Aware I think this is amendment of ECBC also, like in your conditions. Several state has already done it. Process of inspection of by SDA. Sir, this is also in your presentation.
I am taking.
Also, you are already taking. So I think I'll not. So already, I think my presentation is closed here. So, so I request any questions coming in your mind related to Energy Conservation Act or either because the implementation part sir will cover. But this is kind of a community we have developed for the people who are working in sustainability. You can scan this code and part of this community also. So this is my presentation. So thank you everyone. Thank you for patiently listening me. I hope that next session में जब मैं PAT पढ़ाऊंगा तो उसमें और interesting आएगा PAT क्या चीज है. Lot of people अभी starting phase है, please learn it, my request, because this is a very important subject. अभी major of the government, major of the states are focusing in this sector. और इसमें industry, appliances, building, everything is a several different sectors are one. तो आपको सबको थोड़ा idea होना चाहिए. And carbon rate is something new. So thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello. 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 Am I audible? Thank you. Thank you. So, first of all, I would like to thank Ashu Gupta sir for a wonderful presentation. Now we would like to move ahead with the second session lineup for today. We are a little behind the schedule, as you know, like 10-15 minutes. So without any further delay, we are going on to the next session. I would like to request Shri Ravi Deshmukh sir for taking this session, and sir will be taking session on enforcement of Energy Conservation Act through inspection, adjudication, inquiry and imposition of penalties. So let me introduce our resource person. Shri Ravi Deshmukh sir has done his engineering from College of Engineering, Pune, master's degree in microwave. Sir has done MBA in power from a National Power Training Institute, NPTI. And sir is presently director in PPS Energy Solution Private Limited, Pune. So I would like to request Ravi Deshmukh sir to please kindly take over, sir. We will be attending queries if you have in the last session, because there will be a discussion, and there we will be trying to attend maximum of your queries, because since if we start taking this queries session after session, then it may consume more time. So we want to cover the sessions first, and then we'll try to attend all your queries at the end of today's session. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. Very good afternoon to all of us. Basically, as sir has already, Gupta ji has already introduced regarding Energy Conservation Act 2001, then amended around 2010, then amended again at 2022. So now, sir has given the overview of the complete act. Now I am specifically focusing on the process of enforcement of this act, because now this is the practical implication or practical implementation of this act. And fortunately, the state designated agencies as well as regulatory commissions both are having equal contribution in implementation of this act. So already sir has introduced about me. Just I will add 2-3 things here and there. Basically, I have worked with Mahadiscom Maharashtra for 10 years. Then apart from MBA Power and all, I have did my PhD also research in rural electrification. Then I have did law also. I am having certificate of practice COP for law. So now we are doing techno-legal service. We are providing techno-legal services. Also, I am accredited energy auditor from 2016 batch. So basically, we are using this Energy Conservation Act, Electricity Act 2003 day in day out for in Maharashtra as well as complete India. Yeah. I will just go through the brief of this presentation. Mainly, we will default 44, then first appeal section 30, 31, second appeal section 45, penalty section 26, and mainly we will be focusing and discussing regarding challenges we will be facing in future while implementing this act. So mainly when we talk about the enforcement process, it is a very small process on slide, but it will be a very vast and detailed process while implementing. So it will be inspection, adjudication, first appeal, second appeal, and penalty. So these are the stages for this enforcement process. Now, who are the stakeholders of this? So I have bifurcated 4 stakeholders, mainly 4 type of stakeholders. One is law, rules, and regulation makers, that is central government, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, then state government, and SDS, state designated agencies. Then judiciary, which will be an inspecting officer, then adjudicating officer, actor, and Supreme Court. Third one is owners, that is designated consumers, building owners, and OEMs, original equipment manufacturers. And fourth one is experts, that is energy managers, energy auditors, and accredited energy auditors. So now while enforcing this law, what we have to do, or all these 4 sections or 4 stakeholders can make a mistake. So what type of mistakes this first column can make central government, bureau, state, SDA, while formulating the policy, while defining the formulas, while creating the formats, there might be some mistakes. That mistakes will be developed or will be improved time to time. But in some certain cases, if bureau or central government or SDA are not ready to accept their mistake, in that case, all these need to be challenged in High Court as well as Supreme Court under writ of mandamus. There is no other way to challenge the documents provided by these bodies. Secondly, if we say this inspecting officer made mistake or adjudicating officer made mistake, then we can have a sequential appealing authorities for each one. Then secondly, if owner made mistake, then we have this format IAAP, that is inquiry, adjudication, first appeal, second appeal, and penalty. And if expert made mistake, then Bureau of Energy Efficiency officers has to handle that mistakes. So these are the areas where problems will be there and corrections will be there. So what are non-compliances? Who can do non-compliance or who are having the problems? So mainly, I think it is not really one. I'll just read from my laptop. Sorry. Basically, what will happen if any designated consumer is there, then he has to appoint energy manager. If he doesn't appoint energy manager, then it is a non-compliance. Non-submission of Form 1, mandatory energy audit not done, then non-submission of Form 1 and Form 2, non-submission of Form 3, non-submission of the pro forma assessment document Form A and certificate verification in Form B along with verification report, and non-registering the as eligible entity with registry, because we found in Orissa many sponge iron units has not yet listed as a designated agency. So there are the problems in field. Similarly, non-submission of compliance assessment document in Form D. So these all formalities need to be fulfilled by designated consumers. So if from 1 to 9, all the non-compliances carried out by designated consumers need to be penalized. And who will penalize, how will penalize, we will discuss in detail. Similarly, your OEM, original equipment manufacturer, can make mistake like what type of mistakes they can do. Non-compliance of permit to adhere to the terms and conditions of S&L regulations, then non-compliance of permit in the manner and display of label on the appliance. So if they are not putting label or they are not putting correct label, then it is a non-compliance. As Gupta ji has discussed the star rated labels. So star rated labels, if any manufacturer has not put on the equipment, then it is a non-compliance. If he has not registered, then it is a non-compliance. So for this, there should be penalization clauses. Similarly, non-compliance of permit for non-affixing labels on mandatory appliances. So there are some non-compliances from OEM. Similarly, some non-compliances from building, some non-compliances for energy manager, energy auditor, and some non-compliances from accredited energy auditor. The list is already given here. So like for example, accredited energy auditor need to pay the fees, regular fees every year. If he doesn't pay, then it's a non-compliance. If there is a non-compliance, then he should be adjudicated or he should be penalized. That is how the system non-compliances will act on. So when there will be a non-compliance, there will be dispute. Because some the designated consumer will say that I have registered it to bureau, or some designated consumer will say that I don't know how to register. Is it needed to register? So there is a dispute. So dispute resolution mechanism in Energy Conservation Act is nothing but this all your IAAP. So now what type of disputes will be there? That first is non-compliance under section 14 and under section 15. So that is dispute. So what can happen in this dispute? Some client will prejudicially do that. Some energy consumer, some designated consumer will do it in wrong intention, with wrong intention, and some will have a problem. They might have not understood this system. So both way it is possible. So it will be the inquiry officer's responsibility to establish whether he has made a mistake or he is innocent about his act. So 48 section 48(1) defines which fault can be treated as dispute. Similarly, section 48(2) suggests that without referring to one, where there is a problem, where there is a non-compliance, it shall be treated as clearly treated as non-compliance and shall be penalized under 26, under section 26. So, what type of non-compliances and how they are? Under section 13, which defines the power of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So, section 13(1), the Bureau shall effectively coordinate with designated consumers, designated agencies and other agencies, recognize and utilize the existing resources and infrastructure in performing the functions assigned to it by or under this Act. So, Bureau of Energy Efficiency has the role of section 13(1). Similarly, section 52 is power to obtain the information. Every officer involved in this Act, whether he is the inquiry officer, whether he is the adjudicating officer, appellate tribunal, Supreme Court, every officer has a right to or power to obtain the information. If inquiry officer asks for any documentation from the designated consumer, energy auditors or director of any designated consumer, anybody, they cannot deny under this section 52. They have to produce the document and submit the document to the respective officers. So if somebody fails in doing following section 13(1) as well as section 52, what are the penalties? So penalty which may extend to rupees 50,000 on first such non-compliance or failure. If somebody denies to submit the documentation or required document, then regulatory commission or inquiry officer can impose a penalty of rupees 50,000 rupees on that respective person. Similarly, default by companies under section 14. So here are, I have made a bifurcation of these clauses. Clause C, clause D. What happened if clause C prohibit manufacture or sale or purchase or import of equipment or appliance specified under the clause B unless such equipment or appliance conforms to energy consumption standards. So as we were discussing that standard and labels, if mandatory equipments are not having the standard label, then it's a non-compliance under section 14 clause C. Similarly, under section 14 clause D, direct display of such particulars on label on equipment or an appliance specified under clause B and in such a manner as may be specified by regulations. So regulations already define what type of label size should be, what should be its width, what should be its length, what should be the content of that label, so how the star should be put on that label, and with that regulation, this label shall be put on the equipment. If it not appears, then it's a non-compliance under section 14 clause D. What are the penalties for that? For section C and D, the penalty which shall be rupees 2,000 to 5,000 per appliance or per equipment. If there is a one air condition, if it does not have the standard label, then regulatory commission can impose the penalty of from 2,000 to 5,000 on that. Similarly, clause H and clause I, what clause H says that direct having regard to the quantity of energy consumed or norms of standards of energy consumption specified under clause A, the energy intensive industry specified in the schedule to get energy audit conducted by accredited energy auditor in such a manner and intervals of time as may be specified by regulation. So, all designated consumers shall get conducted the energy audit through accredited energy auditor as per clause section 14H. If it fails, it is a non-compliance. So what is the penalty for that? That penalty which shall be up to rupees 10 lakh. You might be aware, recently Bureau has served a notice of rupees 10 lakh to almost all discoms for non-compliancing or non-submitting the energy audit reports carried out by accredited energy auditors. Almost all, because it got delayed. Everybody were doing that, but it got delayed compared to their standard time. So, that is the start of penalization. Nobody has paid, everybody, then Bureau has extended the time and everybody has tried to submit the reports within that extension, but that is the start of penalty. Similarly, clause I, direct, if considered necessary for efficient use of energy and its conservation, any designated consumer to get energy audit conducted by an accredited auditor. Similarly, clause H and clause I are same. So, now what is the problem? As sir suggested that if you are failing repeatedly, then provided that in case of continuing failures, the person shall be liable to an additional penalty which may be extend to rupees 10,000 for every day during which such failures continues. So similarly, section 14K, section 14I are having the same penalties, 10 lakh rupees and 10,000 rupees. So what K says that direct and designated, any designated consumer to furnish the desired designated agency in such a form and manner and within such period as may be prescribed. So in short, if designated consumer fails, then these are the clauses. Clause N says that direct every designated consumer to comply with energy consumption norms and standards. As these are the part of the clauses of Energy Conservation Act, these will be the Bible for all regulatory commissions as well as all SDAs. Because whenever you have to do or act on something, act against any designated consumers, you have to refer all these clauses. Because designated consumers lawyer will follow line by line, word by word these clauses. If you are not following these clauses, then you will be targeted. Being officer, you will be at fault. If you are following this line by line, then designated consumer will be at fault. So it's like the police. If police find out any culprit, then culprit can be punished. But if police could not, then police will be punished. Similar way, you are the police for this section. So you have to be very careful while reading this act or the clauses of this act.
So just a question. This penalty can be on accredited energy auditor also. Like if it is calculated.
Not this, but it is not defined what type of penalty will be there, but it will be processed. And his accreditation or energy auditor certificate or energy management certification may be cancelled.
Okay.
So similarly, section 15 C and H also having a same problem. If section C and H is not followed, generally it is for OEMs. Like section H 14 is for designated consumers. So this is for OEM. If some fails to do this, then also direct is considered necessary efficient use of the energy and the conservation. Any designated consumers referred to in clause B to get energy audits conducted, accredited energy auditor in such a manner and such a intervals of the as may be specified by the. Similarly, C and H nearly equal. So minor variation is there for section C and section H. So they again for this also penalty is same, 10 lakhs rupees and 10,000 rupees. So now what is inspection? Once there will be a dispute, once there will be a non-compliance, once you establish that there is a problem, that somebody has not followed the rules and regulations defined by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency or SDO or state government or central government, then there is a fault. If there is a fault, then there should be some process to identify that fault, to penalize that fault. So now, what is the next stage? Next stage is the inspection. Who will do that inspection? So mainly SDA has to do this inspection. SDA will do this inspection by appointing an inspecting officer. So SDA has to appoint inspecting officer. How many inspecting officer? As many as required. Because one inspecting officer will inspect one industry or one designated consumers simultaneously. If you have 2-3 industries to be evaluated or inspected, then you can appoint as many as inspecting officer. Who shall be the inspecting officer? The inspecting officer shall be a person from state government having equivalent to secretariat level, as well as he should have the 3 years experience in the energy conservation. Also, he should be engineering graduate. So these are the requirements. So under which section energy inspection will be there? Under section 17. 17.1, 17.2, 17.3 and 17.4. So under this section, power of inspection has been allotted to inspecting officer and from appointed by SDA. So if somebody fails to do this, what will happen? Again, there is a provision of penalty. Failure of clause A and clause B of section 14. What is happened? The designated agency may appoint after the expiry of this 5 years already has gone. So, inspecting officer as may necessary for the purpose of ensuring the compliance with the energy section 14. So, what he will inquire? Whether that designated consumer has followed the rules and regulations or the clauses as per the section 14A and section 14B. Similarly, subject to any rules made under this act, an inspecting officer shall have to have a power. So which power he should have? He should have a power of trespassing. What is trespassing? Trespassing means entering the premises of the designated consumer. Otherwise, if he is not allowed, inspecting officer is not allowed for trespassing, then designated consumer will be penalized or will be sued in the civil court. So trespassing is essential. Next, as per section 17.3 and 4, is investigation and statement recording and evidence collection are the permissions given to inspecting officers. Any inspecting officers can trespass the premises. He can have the power to take the statements of the concerned officers of why this power has been accorded to the inspecting officer under the regulation? Because if this power has not been accorded, then any designated consumer can stop him in entering the premises. Also, he can avoid giving the information. So with this section 17, section 52 is also read, because section 52 allows or permit for acquiring the documentation or the information. Similarly, access to all places, machines and documents. These permissions are given to the inspecting officer as per the section 17(3) and 17(4). Because if inspecting officer do not have these permissions, then how he will judge or how he will inspect? So all these required permissions, required access has been given through this law. So why these lines I am reading, though it is little bit tedious or little bit lengthy, but as a law student, I should tell you the importance of these words and lines. So restricting inspecting officer is to disturb Government Act, will attract IPC section 353-283. If somebody stops doing all these activities to inspecting officer, then inspecting officer can file a complaint in nearby police station or that same jurisdiction police station against that industry under IPC section 353 and 283 as disturbing in Government Act. So somebody from you might be inspecting officer in coming future. So try to understand, and industries may stop you in entering in their premises, in giving their documentation, in introducing to machines and introducing the information of their machines or all other documents. So at that time, this clause will help you in work against them. So, as we discussed, SDA has to appoint an inspecting officer, post equivalent or in the rank of under secretary, then professional experience of 3 years in the field of energy conservation or energy efficiency. He should be a graduate engineer. Then inspecting officer has been given a facility to make a consultation with accredited energy auditor or professional organization. Because inspecting,
Sorry. You said IPC 353 section I. Detail time limit within 24 hours or 48 hours to report to police station, because normal time limit for IPC section 354 or 334 in 24 hours. Within 24 you have to file a FIR with the nearest police station. Here, you have any time frame?
So basically it's a normal IPC, so it has a limitation of 24 hours only. Because if what happens if we delayed this complaint, then it is treated as there are afterthoughts. So you have to submit the complaints as early as possible. If there are any technical issues, then police has to consider that.
So normally 24 hours.
24 hours. So now, another good thing for inspecting officer is that inspecting officer can hire accredited energy auditor as well as the agency for getting assisted while inspecting. Because he might not be aware of all processes, all machines, all industries. So that is a good thing that he can have. But this will be the challenge. I will discuss this challenge in future and in next slides. So this is some standard inspection format that there will be complaint or there will be reporting to SDA from their officers that this designated consumer has failed in complying and so on and so. Then inspecting officers will be appointed by the designated agency. Then the inspecting officer will visit, will collect the documentation, evidences, will take the statements, and after that all he will prepare the report. He will submit the report to a designated agency, SDA. then designated agency will confirm it to Bureau of Energy Efficiency. After that, they will decide whether to go against that designated consumers. If it decides that he has to be penalized, then he will inspecting officer has to prepare the petition and has to submit the petition for adjudication in regulatory commission. So this is short process and the standard process. It will, and certainly though it has been given, but it will vary person to person or area to area little bit. So what is adjudication or who can do the adjudication and under which section adjudication is available? Under section 27, 28 adjudication is available. So who will be any of its member to be an adjudicating officer? Any member of State Regulatory Commission will be the adjudicating officer. Now, what are the process of adjudication? What is the process of adjudication? How this adjudication will be taken care? What will happen? We will discuss in this. While holding an inquiry, the adjudicating officer shall have the power to summon and enforce the attendance of any person acquired with the facts and circumstances. Naturally, adjudicating officer has this power because if he has not this power, then nobody will respond to adjudicating officer and his notices. So under section 28, there are some special details given and are mandated to an adjudicating officer to follow this section 28 while adjudication. So what is now adjudication? Or this already we discussed that SDA through inspecting officer will prepare the petition, then inspecting officer shall file a petition before respective SERC, then adjudicating officer shall record his findings. How he will record his findings? By inspecting the documents, by inspecting the petition, by summoning this designated representative of designated consumers. He will put up his say. After that, he will have that all. Okay, so this is again SERC will follow this. SDA will file the petition. SERC will appoint the adjudicating officer, and this is like a court. All regulatory commission now following this for your normal petitions. So similar way we have to follow this. Only thing is that here a single member commission will be there for this, and he will be working as an adjudicating officer. Otherwise, minor variations will be there, or because it is being a special thing, special focus will be given and a limited time period will be given for this section. Again, adjudicating officer also has power to hire the assistance from the technical persons. Now, like this, this adjudicating process is for designated consumers. Similarly, if there is a problem in ECBC, as sir has discussed in detail the Energy Conservation Building Code now as per section 20, Amendment 2022, it is Energy Conservation Sustainable Building Code. So these are the standards that if somebody doesn't follow, these rules or regulations, then he may be this State ECBC Technical Grievance Redressal Committee may summon him and discuss him and ask the reasons for not following, and again he can penalize him.
Now the state registered regulatory authority or its members has got any say on this CPC technical?
I think limited, as sir I discussed, limited state has appointed this ECBC cells now. Telangana has started. I asked.
So already all the states in India having ECBC cell.
Yeah.
So that is the comprises of one architect, two engineers. But what the committee is talking about, grievances redressal committee, That is from the every department they have a one person in that. So this is the chief secretary of that state, because this is under the ECBC rules 2018 now. So chief secretary of the state, and they have a principal secretary from urban department, a principal secretary from energy department, and of course appointed by them also. It is not mandatory that they will have to be the committee. They can appoint from their department, from urban, from all the department, PWD department and all, because who works in the building sector. So they will take care of this case for that.
But RERA doesn't have any say on
Sir, RERA is also the part of that. In some states, amended RERA is also part of that. So because this is a real estate act, so RERA is also the part of that. ECBC. So that is channeled in the State ECBC Technical Grievances Committee. So they have made the committee members list in the rules. No. There is no higher above than this. I don't think so. There is a RERA or only one.
No, RERA will be the RERA has to follow these norms. RERA will not create their own, or whatever their standard norms are there. Adding to that, they have to follow this ECBC.
No, actually, the chairman of the RERA is of the same rank of chairman of SGRC.
Oh, yes.
So, how do you?
No, basically, this is an independent.
Pass the provisions of this committee. Do you mean to say that chairman of RERA is bound to follow?
No. Basically, this is not limited. This will not report to ACRC. This will be reported to ECBC Grievance Committee, and ECBC Grievance Committee will be established by the state government. So whether chairman of RERA or whether chairman of ACRC, they are reporting to state government. They have to work under state government only. So they will not work under ACRC. This is independent. This is not related to ACRC. This last adjudication is for ACRC. And I have put ACRC there. This is for ECBC state. And ECBC is independent body. ACRC is independent body. So nothing to do with each other. And apart from that, if there is a problem in this energy auditor, energy manager, energy accredited energy audit, then Bureau of Energy Efficiency will handle this independently. ACRC will not involve in this. This will be the independent section. So these bodies are independent and they will handle independently. So now, when we talk about the adjudication, there might be the result might go against the designated consumer, because all this this process will be initiated by the SDA only. No designated consumer or OEM original equipment manufacturer can use this channel. If they have to challenge this Bureau of Energy Efficiency or central government or state government, then they have to go for REIT, as we discussed in first slide. So now, if adjudicating officer makes mistake, then designated consumers can go into appeal, that is first appeal under section 30 and 31. Before that, I will discuss section 29 and 44. It is clearly mentioned under section 29 that this Energy Conservation Act, any issues regarding Energy Conservation Act will not be submitted to any civil court. Civil court will not have jurisdiction for running or for admitting the matters regarding Energy Conservation Act. All the matters regarding Energy Conservation Act will be adjudicated only under ACRC and will be appealed in appeal, like all electricity regulatory commissions cases or petitions or judgments are challenged in appeal. And after, so similarly, as inspecting officer and adjudicating officer has been permitted for taking the technical assistance or legal assistance, similarly designated consumers has also right under section 44 of this act, that they can also hire legal officials as well as the accredited energy auditors for presenting themselves in front of or in ACRC as well as in appeal as well as in Supreme Court. Also, they can in personal capacity also they can present themselves. It is not clearly mentioned for ACRC, but what happened nowadays, trends are like that. ACRC also legal advocates are representing nowadays. Otherwise, it is not clearly mentioned here, as it is clearly mentioned for APTEL as well as for Supreme Court. Supreme Court, anyway, we have to go with lawyers only. That also advocates on AORs only, advocates on register. So that's why section 44 is having some limitations, that in front of ACRC, designated consumer or his representative have to appear in person, but in future, if he has to appeal that adjudicating officer or challenge that the judgment of the adjudicating officer, then he can take the assistance of legal firms as well as the technical firms. So that's why section 44 has also importance in this section, in this act. Now, appeal under section basically APTEL has the power, or appellate tribunal established under section 1110 of this 110 of the Electricity Act 2003, 36 of 2003 shall, without prejudice to the provisions of Electricity Act 2003, be the appellate tribunal for the purpose of this act, and here appeals against the orders of the adjudicating officer or the central government or the state government or any other authority under this act. So any orders given by state government, central government, then your adjudicating officer will be challenged or shall be challenged in appellate tribunal. So appellate tribunal will work under section 13. So any person aggrieved by the order made by adjudicating officer or central government or state government or any other authority under this act may prefer an appeal to the appellate tribunal for energy conservation, provided that any person appealing against the order of the adjudicating officer levying any penalty shall, while filing the appeal, deposit the amount of such penalty. Now again, these are the standard clauses of laws. Whenever you have to file the appeal, you have to pay the whatever the amount decreed against you. But many cases we know that appellate tribunal can give the relief for submitting or paying that amount also. Because what is the dispute, that if adjudicating officer put the penalty or penalty for, let's say, 20 lakhs rupees or 10 lakhs rupees, then adjudicating office or the appellate tribunal may think that this penalty can be 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs rupees. Accordingly, appellate tribunal can reduce the amount to be paid while submitting the appeal. So that is again the discretion of appellate tribunal, whether they will, as per section Act section 31, they should ask for the complete payment, but appellate tribunal may take this discretion in future. I don't think that initially they will take this discretion, but future they have to. Because many courses they have to follow this.
Since you are a legal expert, I tend to ask one question. In which appellate tribunal in the whole country, since you are working all over India, are the maximum number of pending cases?
So basically, appellate tribunal is single Delhi appellate tribunal, and having working benches Chennai, Bombay, and I think Calcutta. There are 3 or 4 working benches, but they work under the Delhi appellate tribunal. Basically, Delhi appellate sits in Bombay or Chennai sometimes. They are no separate members.
But you said there is no pending proceedings against.
No, that is not. That is a law. It will take its own course. There is nothing like that, no pending or nothing.
That is what I'm saying, whether it is a time consuming or it takes.
Sir, not like civil courts.
That is what.
Not like civil courts. Because typical cases are there, typical what we can say disputes are there, and more technical disputes are there, so get solved easily.
So you said it's not like a civil court.
It's not like exactly like civil court, but they will follow the process.
Yeah, but things are more, faster in this case, I think.
Yes. Naturally, compared to civil courts, it will be faster.
So what is the natural time frame? Like 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year?
Generally 6 months.
Since you are working on that, that is why I'm asking you.
And generally 6 months.
But in Assam, you don't have any pending cases. You can find less.
No, basically, regulatory commission have got limited cases, so they generally keeps on rolling the balls. APTEL has a single APTEL has to face the complete national cases. So again, partly cases is handed over to APTEL. So they are also faster compared to APTEL.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, APTEL was established in 2003.
Yeah.
So, sir, before that, who was looking for that Conservation Act cases?
Conservation Act enforcement is now, it is being started. Earlier, nobody has imposed the penalty, or there was nothing like that penalty. Initially, when we did this energy auditor in 2000, I have asked my energy auditing in 2007. And that time, Director General was Dr. Ajay Mathur. He always used to say that there will not be any policing in this Energy Conservation Act, and Energy Conservation Act will be proactive and all industries will work there proactively. There will not be any policing. But unfortunately, now government has introduced policing in this Energy Conservation Act. And this is nothing but policing.
But 5 years was holiday, 2002 to 2007.
Yeah.
So there was no requirement.
No requirement immediately for 5 years.
There was 5 years holiday.
So, sir, in EC Act 2001, there was no mention of any triplet body.
Yeah, there, it was there.
It was
but, amended in 2022.
Now it has enforced, or now it has made activated now.
Excuse me, sir. So there is a here. So there is a doubt which I would like to have some enlightenment from your part. So I am basically representing the Assam SDA, and here we have two designated consumers who has been declared as non-compliant by the bureau, and both the designated consumers are shut down from 2019. So they have completely been shut down, closed, and it has been taken over by the Assam State AIDC, basically the Industrial Development Corporation. So in a conversation with the AERC, so they have just told us that in case if you go ahead with the inspection officer filing a petition and then accordingly follow the procedure, there would be no one from the DC to come and attend the hearing.
So that will be ex parte result will be given by adjudicating officer.
So that is what, sir, just in case if you can throw some light on how the process.
Sir, basically what happened, apart from this act, all other civil acts available or in force will be available and will be acted or enforced. So if there is a problem of bankruptcy or any other laws are enforced, then we have to, being an inspecting officer, while submitting the petition, we have to consider that acts also. Whether that acts are implementable or means whether that acts are available for proceedings or not. Only isolated this 2001 Energy Conservation Act will not work. We have to work thing in all the respects. If you submit the petition, being appointing an inspecting officer, you submit the petition, only you have completed your task. Then adjudicating officer has to look into all these things. If adjudicating officer means if designated consumer does not respond to adjudicating officer, then adjudicating officer has to pass the order, and again somebody has to challenge it into appellate tribunal.
But the doubt is, what would the adjudicating officer do in case if there is no one to come from the DC and attend?
No, they can call for them, they can summon, and if not, they can send summon them as per this act. If designated consumer doesn't follow the summon, then they can start the civil proceedings against that designated consumer.
But the existence is not there, sir, of the DC. DC is already shut down.
If DC is already shut down, then that means if it is shut down and if it is declared bankrupt, then Bankruptcy Act will be enforced. If Bankruptcy Act will be enforced, and what is if under Bankruptcy Act, if it is written that you cannot claim anything to them against them, then you have to consider that act also or that sections also.
Thank you, sir.
Because you as I told you that clearly mentioned in this act that this cannot go isolated. All other enforcing acts available presently will act parallelly to this act. So you have to consider all the acts for that. Bankruptcy Act is there, then Non-Compliance Act is there, then if land issues are going on of that or ownership issues are going on that, so still finalization of that judicial cases, you have to hold your case. So, as we are discussing about this appeal under section 31, now this is APTEL process. Similarly, that aggrieved designated consumer will file the appeal in APTEL. Then APTEL will call for this designated agency as well as regulatory commission adjudicating officer to submit their says based on their standard process. After following the standard process, they will come up with the judgment. If again this judgment goes against the designated consumers, then designated consumer can file a second appeal in Supreme Court, or if it goes against the SD or ACRC, then ACRC or SD also can file a second appeal in the Supreme Court. So this is a normal standard process of the law. So if we talk about the Supreme Court, then once we entered into Supreme Court, then normal standard CPC, Civil Procedure Code will be applied, and as per CPC, the case will be handled by Supreme Court. So now penalty under 26, sir has already discussed 26, penalty under 26, and I have also put up where there are failure or non-compliance, how this penalty is imposed or what quantities. So I will skip this slide. Now what are the challenges? Sir, while implementing, as there is very new for all, whether it is new for SDA, new for DCs, new for SCRC, new for building owners, or new for accredited energy auditor or energy managers. So what are the challenges? First biggest challenge is that establishing the burden of contravention under section 48. Contravention means misconduct or non-complying. So there will be the burden. Even if inspecting officer visit and inspecting officer find out the documentation and all, but establishing that there is a mistake as per section 48 or there is a non-compliance as per section 13, as per section 14 or as per section 15, that need to be established, and then only adjudication is possible. So this will be the challenging. Contravention of the provisions has been committed with the consent or convenience of or is attributable to any neglect on the part of the company and its officials. Because section 48(1) says that if it is if the energy manager or energy auditor or that owner, director, if they are innocent, they don't aware of these things, then they can be given a chance. But if section 42 says that even if they are innocent, they should be penalized. So here itself a controversy for adjudicating officer or for inspecting officer. Now, identification and enlisting of designated consumers. So many places there is a problem that Bureau of Energy Efficiency has defined the standard consumption pattern, and based on that standard consumption pattern, designated consumers are defined. But many places, though the industries are designated consumers, but on paper they are not showing that much production, so they are not listed as a designated consumers. So this is the biggest challenge. So while inspecting officer will have a challenge that how he will establish, because on paper he is not a designated consumer, but on field he is a designated consumer. So this will be the biggest challenge of inspecting officer. Similarly, identification of violation of clauses 13, 14, 15 and 52. 52 is okay. If somebody denies to give the information, against section 52, he is non-compliant. But for section 13, 14 and 15, if he is not doing it prejudiciously or he is not doing it with bad will, then you can consider him, and inspecting officer can stop from filing the petition against that designated consumer or any other relevant officers of that industry. So appointment of inspecting officer is also another challenge, because the qualification and experience, relevant experience may not be available in field. So that will be another challenge while appointing the inspecting officer, because one or two inspecting officer will not suffice. If say in Maharashtra there are 400 designated consumers, out of that if let's say 20 or 40 are not complying, then almost one inspecting officer can go for 2 or 3 or max 5. So multiple inspecting officers will need to be appointed by designated agencies. No change in IOs and AOs. Many times we found that this inspecting officer will be the government member, adjudicating officer will be the member RCRC, so they keeps on changing. So again, there will be the problem or challenge in handling these cases. If we talk about the commission, then it's okay. Commission is a 3-member commission, but when we talk about the single adjudicating officer, if it changes, then unless until there is a shifting of that cases to another adjudicating officer, it will get hold. So then professional fees and quality towards involvement of AEA agency during the inspection. This will be the biggest challenge for everybody. Even if inspecting officer is being on board, and if inspecting officer wants any assistance from technical and legal firms, then what should be their fees, professional fees? Because nowadays energy auditor, accredited energy auditor are working from 50,000 rupees to 50 lakhs rupees. This is the variation of accredited energy auditor fees in field now. So this will be the biggest challenge. If we go with the 50,000, because government has a norms that you should go with L1, then you will rupture the quality of that system. And that is happening right now in market. Is DISCOM, almost all DISCOMs are doing energy audit. All DISCOMs are doing the audit in I think 1 lakh, 1,50,000 or 2 lakhs rupees, not more than that. So even if some accredited energy auditor or team thinks of traveling from one place to another place of that DISCOM and put 2 or 4 days, then all their budget will get exhausted in traveling itself. No fees and nothing will be there. So this will be the another challenge towards inspecting officer while appointing the assistants to them. Secondly, preparation and submission of the petition will be the further challenge for inspecting officer, because inspecting officer is expected to be a technical guy with technical expertise, and when you entered into regulatory commission, then you will require the legal contents of that petition. So long time period on procedure and from appointing IOs to till justice from Supreme Court. If we consider that first appeal, second appeal will be in place, then from appointing inspecting officer, then adjudicating officer, then appeal first, then judgment, then first appeal, second appeal, then again review and all other process, it will take a long time. Then challenge the acts of government bodies by owners or experts. It may happen that some cases, somebody has a problem that that formula given or defined by the bureau in some research calculation is little bit wrong, or there is a dual interpretation of that formula. So the owner is interpreting it differently, and bureau's experts are interpreting it differently. So now there will be there is a dispute. So who will resolve that dispute? Then, like this bureau and this government has created the structure for challenging or inspecting for all other for government bodies. Similarly, bureau introduced in their next amendment that if some owner or these people has to challenge their submission, they need some grievance committee or some body who will look after their problems, or otherwise everybody has to go for writ petition in Supreme Court or High Court, and that will be again headed for bureau, state government or central government, because all designated consumers are highly paying capacity or high volume consumers, so they can afford in some filing a writ against bureau or central government or state government will not be difficult for them. And apart from that, the most and last challenge is that recovery of the penalties. Even if penalties will be imposed, then who will recover this? Because against somebody, you have to appoint somebody to recover. Even if decree will be given against designated consumers, then against recovery of that penalties will be a biggest challenge for government and bodies. That's all. Thanks. I hope it's useful for you. Yeah.
Very the last earlier slide where you had listed the challenges. Sir, the very first challenge that you had mentioned, identification and enlisting of designated consumer. That would be a challenge for the IO. Sir, you also mentioned that how will the IO identify if a specific industry is...
Right now, Bureau of Energy Efficiency has appointed some agencies. They are working almost in all 3-4 zones, Eastern Zone, Western Zone, Central Zone. And that agencies has been given the task of identifying these non-listed designated agencies. But I, being a field officer, working in field, I know how challenging is this. Because what happened, if you are a designated consumer, if you should be listed in this, definition is possible only by producing the papers. Even if you are machine capacity or that all things are there, but you can simply say that I am not using that to up to fullest limit, so I am not a designated consumer. So somebody need to be stationed there to watch day in day out that designated consumers operations.
Right. I mean, I was just getting at how do we even doubt that consumer is a designated consumer and reporting not as a designated consumer? I mean, there is really
basically Bureau of Energy Efficiency has already defined the standard consumption pattern. Okay, so for that standard consumption pattern, if some industries are there, then they should be designated consumers. If But some industries are not showing that production, that profit, or that raw material being incoming, or partly they are doing business on paper and partly they are doing off the record. Then in that case it will be a challenge. And some places it is going on. You cannot avoid this type of dual mentality or dual standard in the fields.
I would just like to add on to what sir is saying to your question. So basically Assam SDA has been bestowed upon the responsibility by Bureau to identify and spread this designated consumers category. So recently there is an addition of around 30 new sectors into the PAT scheme, and I guess when the PAT scheme will be discussed in the next half, we will be knowing more about it. So what we basically do is we identify industries in the state, and then we send them a detailed kind of annual production and consumption details.
The form format. I understand that.
Yes.
And that is what you've done in Tripura as well.
Yes, yes.
I'm coming to the question wherein, sorry, how do we even doubt an industry that it is underreporting? Where does the SES start or the inspecting officer start?
So there is a baseline audit that has to be performed, and there are auditors which Bureau kind of appoints for that particular industry to hold upon. So for example, there is this particular dairy sector which has been included in the list. So if there is a particular dairy industry which has to be checked upon, so in the initial phase you will just send out a format where they have to fill the production and the consumption details. Now after filling in the details, if you have a doubt that they might be misinterpreting the results, so then it has to be reported by SDA to Bureau, and then Bureau would be sending it.
That is what I'm getting at.
I will give you your answer. Basically, you have to go on census basis. With every industry, your inspecting officer should visit. Like electrical inspector, they are visiting all industries, and they have to find out that all data, and they have to prepare the documentation that he is following or he is not following. That's it. Because there is nothing thumb rule like that these 10 industries should be designated and these 10 industries should not be designated. You have to visit all 20 industries and come up with the original document. Sir, I will give one example. What happened when I was in Mahadiscom? What happened? This vigilance officer found one meter theft in one ginning pressing. You know the ginning pressing, that ginning pressing industry is there in Maharashtra. So that when I discussed this, and he got penalized with some 6,25,000 rupees in the year 2009-10, like that. Sorry, in the year 2001-2002. So when I discussed with his owner, why you are not following or why you have tampered the meter, then he told me, because you are now running this industry on diesel, DG and still you are okay, then paying this energy bill is not difficult for you. Why you are getting penalized? Even if you have to pay the 6 lakhs rupees penalty, you can easily pay and you can start your industry. But what happened? He told me that, sir, कैसा है बोले इसमें, अगर मैं ये चलाता हूँ, मैं बिल में अगर दिखाता हूँ मेरा इतना कंजम्पशन है, 50,000 यूनिट मेरा कंज्यूम होता है, तो कोई भी जो इंस्पेक्टर है, मतलब इलेक्ट्रिकल इंस्पेक्टर हो या फिर आपका लेबर इंस्पेक्टर हो या कोई भी जो टाइप का इंस्पेक्शन करने वाला जो बंदा है, वो क्या करता है, वो मेरे यूनिट कंजम्पशन कितने देखता है, 50,000 है, मतलब आप इतना मशीन चला गया, इतना टाइम आप चला रहे हैं, इतना अब ये मशीन चलाने के लिए इतना आपको रॉ मटेरियल चाहिए, इतना आपका फिनिश गुड है, इतना आपका लेबर होना चाहिए, इतना आपका लेवीज होना चाहिए, इतना आपका टैक्स होना चाहिए. सो बेस्ड ऑन द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंजम्पशन he back evaluate all his from raw material to finished good. So what he did, he just cut down his electricity bill by tampering one city. So he reduced 2/3 consumption and only he reduced it to 1/3 of his consumption. Accordingly, he reduced all production, everything, finished product, raw material to 1/3. So similar fashion or similar type of problems may be there in fields. So finding out this is a challenge. That is what I have put here. Because a single inspecting officer cannot have this type of exposure or he cannot find this type of issues in the fields.
Thank you.
you want to say something?
Actually, this act intends to like income tax. We know that the income tax limit. I am having income of 3 lakhs rupees. I have to file the return. So it is the responsibility of the DC. If he is having the threshold, he is crossing that particular threshold limit. It is the advertisement is being published in all newspaper, leading newspaper. So it is the responsibility of the designated consumer to file their return to the state government, state designated agency as well as bureau. That they have to declare themselves that we are designated consumers. But there are some cases, maybe there are cases, but mostly the responsibility lies with the designated consumer to declare themselves.
It will be non-compliance under section 14 and section 15. But finding and imposing the penalty is a challenge. Yes, sir. Sir, my Yes. Yes, sir.
Actually, I would like to know more details about the recovery of penalty imposed. What are the challenges you write that EC Act 2001 challenges is recovery of penalty imposed? What do you actually want to mean the actually challenges on the recovery of penalty?
Sir, basically, when I am saying that recovery of penalties imposed will be challenged in future, because what happened, like inspecting officer, you have to appoint an inspecting officer, he will go and he will inspect and he will prepare a report, and then he will prepare a petition. Then adjudication will be there and he will get penalized. That designated consumers will get penalized. Now what in general course of law, what happened, even if there is a decree against somebody, some party, then getting that payment from that designated, that party is a challenge. Because if he is not paying it directly, then you have to submit a recovery suit against him. If he avoids paying that, then again there is a process for getting recovered that amount.
And my second question is that if the penalty is recovered, at which account it will be deposited and how it will be utilized?
Sir, it is not yet clear in this act, but as far as my understanding is there is a section in fund, energy conservation funds, which are need to be maintained by Bureau of Energy Efficiency as well as the state government, central government as well as the state government also. So state government funds are different, central government funds are different. So in future, whatever these penalties will be recorded might be shared by the funds. But I have not gone through, frankly speaking, regarding the disposal of that penalties, recovered penalties.
Is there any direction and rules at which account it will be deposited?
Sir, frankly speaking, not. I have not gone through that document, sir, right now. I will check it and I will get back to you. Right.
Sir, these penalties are to be treated as land revenue penalties.
Yes, and accordingly you have to process.
Accordingly, it will be deposited in state treasury.
Not it, that is also not clearly mentioned anywhere. Only it has been mentioned that recovery shall be treated as the land revenue arrear. If there are any arrears in the land revenue, then it will be treated like that arrear. But recovering the arrear as per the land revenue clause is a long process of civil adjudication. So that may need to be imposed in future, or again some amendments might be there in future which will help in speedy recovery of that amount.
But actual act is silent on to whom the penalty should be
paid. Yes, it's not yet clearly mentioned.
But somewhere it is written, it should be treated as land.
No, for recovery, but not putting the funds inside. As far as my understanding is there, as there is a already conservation fund is there, and they are using it for enhancing the conservation, so they might be putting that funds for that energy conservation, or they should rather. there will be some suggestions from you, from this discussion, some suggestions may come up.
Any information sharing mechanism or something portal, maybe different agency can be linked on the same, for example, Minister of Commerce and Industry.
Yeah.
My question is like,
Yes, what?
any information sharing mechanism or in portal, may different agency can be linked in common portal for that. And for example, Minister of Commerce and Industry.
Sir, right now, if you say that designated list of designated consumer is available in Bureau of Energy Efficiency,
I'm not asking for that. Different information, for example, this Minister of Company Affairs, Income Tax, GST, Excise and Custom, as well as Discom connected load. And this type of information can be linked with PAN number of industry or DC. With this information completely available for all those stakeholders.
I think no such platform is available right now. Means
It may be
more useful, but right now it is not available.
What happens is number of energy sources are different. Maybe someone is using coal, someone is using imported coal, indigenous coal. So
Sir, like there, you mean to say that if all discoms has to submit the highly paid consumers to income tax office. All banks has to submit the document to income tax office who are transacting on high level. So this type of information might be collected, but this is again a part of central government, because if you go on the common platform or generalized platform, then it is again the failure of your privacy act laws. So I don't think that it will be available on common platform. Not permitted. It will not be permitted. But central government can take this stand in their capacity, and they can collect the data. But not a common industrial common body will do that.
They can be examined for that.
But somebody has to lead, and central government is the better body who can lead this, or who can propose this. But at this moment there is nothing like that.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. If you may allow, sir, can we wind up with
Yes,
this?
sure. Thanks once again for.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sri Ravi Deshmukh. And with this, we came to the closure of the second session for today. We are thankful to Ravi sir for his elaborate deliberation he has given on the topic. Sir has covered almost various areas on Energy Conservation Act 2001, inspection and grievance redressal for ECBC, Energy Conservation Act 2001 appeal and various challenges, etc. So we are thankful to participants also for their very active interactions within the sessions. We hope that the same rapport, same energy will be there in post-lunch sessions as well. So with this, we break for lunch right now, and we will be resuming for the post-lunch sessions. Thank you so much. In the meantime, I would like to make one announcement, small announcement. We have given a page inside your training bag, which is about the pre-assessment test that will be taken for the participants. So we request you, those who have not completed, we request you to kindly complete it. We would like to collect it from you, please. Thank you.
procedure.